Jeez, I'm not even centered on the damn camera. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Stupid Tuesday show where nothing fucking wants to work, and I'm actually really pissed off right now. But, welcome.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks a lot. I'm good too, James. I appreciate that. I just ate an entire bowl of ramen right before the show. Was that a good idea? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Maybe my toilet will find out. What's going on, Doubleware?
Listen, on December 17th, 2021, Spider-Man No Way Home hits theaters in America, and I couldn't be happier.
Do you look like you're snug as a
snug as a bug?
Writer. Anyway, here we go. On the side, you can see what our topics are. We're going to be talking about the Rumbleverse. We'll talk about the Game Awards, but also stuff that was announced there. We have an interview with KI World Champion, Nicky. We'll also have some fun 5-5 matchups. We're going to be talking about the many betas that will be going on, including sudden DNF news. Who would have expected it? Not us, that's for sure, but there it is.
I had the premonition. Don't forget it.
Wow, that's correct. That's bizarre. All right, let's move on. Let's start by talking about the Rumbleverse.
You good there, James?
No. Not at all.
What a struggle
not at
everything
all.
has been.
You want to hit the start on the go there?
Go.
Hey!
All right, we did it.
So we talked about, I said that we're going to be talking about the Game Awards, but let's start by even kind of before that, talking about how during the Game Awards, I guess, maybe we should have done this the other way around. I now think way too late for it to matter.
Too late. Doing it.
A game called Rumbleverse was announced.
It was.
And it was announced that it was the game that was worked on by Iron Galaxy. It's published by Epic. And they said that the very next day, that was Thursday night, the very next day there would be a playable build. And so there was a playable build. And guess who got to play that playable build? 'Twas me, and also him. And also, I mean, a bunch of other people, to be honest. So I thought that we would take some time to talk about the game. What is it? And our thoughts about it. Sound good?
Sure. Let's do it. Yeah, video game.
All right, Brockamus, what is the game?
Listen, man, Rumbleverse is the game that you needed, but you didn't know you needed. Rumbleverse is the Mamma Jamma, Slamma Jamma, knock your mama out, fighting wrestling game of the century, okay?
Hang on a second.
That's what it is.
Are we getting paid or?
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
We're not.
Not even a cent. Matter of fact, I'll probably have to pay them for saying that somehow. But
does the game have fighting and lots of fighting?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. No, Rumbleverse is a battle royale game focused on hand-to-hand combat rather than gunplay. It has a lot of amazing movement options. Has a great netcode, which would be expected from Iron Galaxy. Has a true rock paper scissors ish system, just like any other fighting game. It has Oki. It has everything you'd expect from a fighting game, except for you can also climb buildings and choke slam someone from 80 stories high to the ground.
Yeah, you can also climb up 80 stories and do an elbow drop off onto people who are fighting on the ground and explode them.
The power of 1,000 suns.
Yeah, it's like kind of a cartoony looking game. There's a lot of humor in it, which I think is something else that I'm not surprised about, just knowing who works on the game. Having seen what Iron Galaxy has done in the past. Yep. There's a lot of like little jokes in there. They have put it in a city, right? Like other BRs, I guess. And that city is Grapidal City, and the guy who's doing the announcing is Skip Leggerday, and there's just a lot of like little funny puns in the signs that are all over the place. So I really like that side of it. But yeah, as far as the combat of it goes, it's not a fighting game. It's not. I mean, you're right that there are certainly some things in it that are from fighting games, and there are some mechanics that I think are similar. But like, don't go into it or don't watch it thinking that like, all the same sorts of decisions that you can make in a fighting game are going to be there, because it's not like that. It's definitely a BR first. and then
Battle Royale, right? BR, Battle
Royale.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the like type of BR is fighting, I guess. But like I really feel like it's more like it's not a fighting game where there's a lot of people doing a fighting game all at the same time. In my opinion, like it's more like it's a battle royale game, and then you fight in it.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know if that's a big difference, but that's kind of how I conceive of it.
No. I mean, I guess the best way to ask then, by nature, of course, battle royales are kind of designed a way where obviously better players are going to win more often, but in general, there's enough chaos in the game, and again, intentionally done so that lots of people have chances to win. Right? Does that kind of feel like the case? Or does it feel like that it's going to be, because so for example, like Tetris 99 Battle Royale, but like the people who are winning Tetris, like no one's going to random their way to victory in that game, right? So is that kind of how Rumbleverse is designed? Is it more towards the casual? Is it more towards the hardcore?
Neither. I mean, you're going to have players like any other video game, especially fighting games, that are going to come in and mash the light attack and get punished when they don't, confirm and things like that. And they're going to have fun doing that. That's what they want to do. That's all they want out of the game. They just want to do some elbow drops, whatever. But the combat depth is there. The combat depth is absolutely there. I mean, like David was saying, it's definitely a BR, but your basic fighting game concepts are all there.
Right.
So your spacing, your whiff punishing, your Oki, your defensive, decision making, all that stuff is there. So I don't think that it's that random. Also, the game is 40 players. A lot of BRs are like 80 plus, right? Like it is throw the world and whatever. It's only 40 players for Rumbleverse. And the ring shrinks pretty quickly. So
I noticed that. Yeah,
people that can't fight aren't going to survive.
Right.
You need to either have really good movement or be able to fight, or both, if you want to have a chance to go deep. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of like randomness to it. If you look at my stream, I was the only time I wasn't like top 5 or better is because I purposely screwed around doing something.
Right. So I mean, I guess like for example,
I think it's pretty skill based.
Right. So, I mean, I guess, for example, like I've talked to people who, they play Tetris 99. This is the only Battle Royale I've played, so it's the only frame of reference that I have.
No, I couldn't tell at all.
Right.
You only played Tetris.
Like people are like, I've never won. Like, I've just never won at all, ever. Like, I never get higher than 10th place or something. For, like, people in the chat, who are casual players who did get to play in it, like, were they able to win, or did they find themselves always going out at like 15th place or 14th place, or were there matches where they would get to top 3 every once in a while? Like, is it Fall Guys? Obviously it's not Fall Guys. Obviously not Fall Guys.
I mean, yeah, it's probably somewhere between those two. If those are the upper and lower bounds, it's probably somewhere between those two. I mean, I think that Brock was probably the best player in that open beta. So he won or got second place like every time or whatever, I guess. But I didn't. I got top 5 most of the time, and I got second place a few times. But I also lost at like 20-ish a couple of times, and occasionally I lost. I got 39th one time, although that was my fault. I specifically went in the water to see what would happen.
That doesn't count.
That doesn't for me. I don't know how. But yeah. So I think that there's some variance a little bit, because, I mean, awareness is a huge part of the game, right? It's in this city, and there are different parts of the city. There's the suburbs, and then there are the tall downtown buildings.
Yeah.
And when you're in the tall, the circle is closing in, and like Brock said, it closes pretty fast. Like, games are like 15 minutes long at most.
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes. Max.
Yeah. I mean, that's smart, because I mean, I feel like
cool. I'm totally down with it.
With the game absolutely. With no ranged attacks, or no guns, I should say, stuff like that, obviously running away and kind of avoiding combat, like, is that an effective strategy, or is that something?
I don't think so, because the game the game gives you perks for beating up other people, and those perks can be really important. You build your build around it.
And those perks specifically come from you doing damage. There's no other way to get these perks.
Right. So in other words, if you avoid fights all the time, you won't be doing any damage compared to the other guys. So when it's the last two guys, he's just gonna murder you in like 3 hits, and you'll basically take forever to kill him, right?
Yeah, and like maybe he also is healing faster than you are. You don't have a
right. Okay.
So going back to what I was saying, depending on the area, if you're in the downtown area, it's totally possible that somebody's gonna just come down with an elbow from the very top, and you're dead. Like that is completely plausible. That happened to me once or twice, and I did that to people a lot.
Right.
And I don't know if they were good or not. I mean, you're supposed to be aware of your surroundings, but like if you're in a fight, it's really hard for you to also pay attention to like, is somebody going to come up from, down on you?
I would argue it's impossible to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is I think that there is, that's not randomness really, but like there is variance in results. You're not going to win every single time even if you're really, really strong. You'll probably win a lot. But it's not going to be a case of like, I win every time.
I like, as a person who would like to make games, I think about this, right? Like this is a tough one to do because at the same time you don't want to make Fall Guys. I mean, outside of the guys who made Fall Guys, who wants to make Fall Guys, right? I mean, like, but the thing about it is, look at the phenomenon it kind of generated because it does have that anybody can win feel to it, right? But at the same time, you don't want to make it you want to make it hardcore, but you want to make it casual. There's got to be that perfect sweet spot. And just judging by the reception that I've been seeing on social media, I feel like it hit a lot of that. Obviously I've seen people from Katana Prime who, also enjoys Fall Guys, right? Like, just having a blast in this game. And just, I see everybody talking about how much they enjoy the game, from a casual play standpoint. And I said this in response because, Keats was obviously retweeting a lot of highlights from a lot of different streams. And there was the one clip of some guy who did the what do you call that? The leg throw.
Spinneroonie.
Yeah, the spinneroonie, the thing that Wolf has, right? Basically threw him off a building, and then he jumped in the air and like chased him while he was being thrown, and elbow dropped him after he landed. Giant swing, thank you, and killed him basically. I immediately responded. I was like, this is exactly what you need to make in video games. As much as people want to lambast and make fun of, Guilty Gear's wall splats or the big counter message and stuff, like I've been saying forever now that's the kind of stuff that you need to put into these kind of games. You just have to let people feel like a god. And that's what it seems like this game does. It lets you feel like a god, like you do stuff like that. You're just like, I'm the best. Like, killed one guy and then you die in like 15th place, but you're like, you know what? I freaking body slammed this guy. I hit the freaking light post and we bounced way up into the air and somehow they wall splatted and then I got to, and like, that's all that matters. And like that to me, I feel like is so far from what I've seen. Like, again, I didn't get a chance to play it. I was traveling that day. But it just seems like it's hitting all the marks for just letting people feel good about doing anything.
What it does really well is, you're talking about all these things like, can these players win? I think something that Rumbleverse does really well is it makes sure people that aren't winning have fun too.
Right.
It's like seeing yourself get, Izuna dropped from 90 stories. It's still funny. Like, it's sort of like, damn it. And then you fall down and go kaboom and you die and then you queue up right away again. It doesn't take very long to, even when those things happen, it's just like, oh, well, that was dope. All right, next game. It doesn't feel terrible when that stuff happens.
That's true. I felt that way many times. When I was getting got, I was like, this is actually really hilarious.
Yeah, this is sick. This is so cool.
Actually, now that you mentioned it, I did play the Star Wars Battle Royale where you did like the space battles. and like it was just like the Empire versus the Rebels or something like that, and so half the
You mean
people.
Battlefront? Battlefront's not a battle royale. There is no Star Wars battle royale.
No, the space one, I think there was. But that was kind of the same appeal. You just jumped into a match that had like 40 people, and when you died, you just came back in, or you would just, it was quick like that. And
that's battle royales in general. I think that's one of the things that people like most about them is that there's very little time that you as a player are not actually playing. I mean, provided that there's like a server that a lot of people are playing on, etc. But yeah, it's fast.
Yeah, but other BRs can take like 45 minutes to get through.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, your longest match of Rumble, I almost called it its code name, of Rumbleverse, is 10 minutes, 15 minutes max.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I get into a long game of Apex, I can run around for 32 minutes and barely see anyone, see a group at the very end, get shot and die. I don't feel rewarded for looting for 30 minutes to die. Whereas Rumbleverse is like, I spent 7 minutes looting, and then I didn't die. Other people died because of me, but they don't feel that bad because they only spent 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the looting, because we haven't really talked too much about like what's BR about it. Like we talked about the fighting a little bit. So you're going around, and I guess we did briefly talk about the fact that when you deal damage, you get these perks, and the perks are like you do more damage, maybe you heal a little bit, you have a vampire aura, or like whatever they're called. I don't remember now, but there's different things that you can get, and you also can drink drinks. You can up your damage, you can up your stamina, or you can up your health, and so you can drink up to 10 of each of one of these in total of these three. And like the numbers that you drink kind of produces a different build, right? So if you drink all 10 arms, you're doing a lot of damage.
I see.
If you drink all 10 stamina, you have a lot of stamina, and whatever combination that you want to do. So you're looking for those, and then you're also looking for these magazines that you can pick up and read. And those will teach you your special moves. And there's a ton of different special moves.
Interesting.
And quite different options.
Yeah, they all have different properties to them.
Different properties, and then there's even like different effective strengths of the same idea of moves as well. So like you can get a better rocket jump or whatever than somebody else may have.
It just, it seems like if you landed in a place that you were kind of by yourself, you had time to farm the little item boxes to get these little power-ups and stuff, but sometimes you get dropped right next to somebody, and then you guys fight immediately, right? So
well, I mean, you have control of where you land.
Right.
Also, that's part of the strategy. Do you want to land where no one else is, but you get a little extra loot, or do you want to maybe fight one or two people, get some perks, and then get your loot based on what those perks are? Right, so you generally are going to want to know where your perks are headed before you start building your character, if you can do that.
Right.
So you don't want to land in like the most popular. I mean, I do, but a lot of people don't want to land in the most populated area. But you want to fight some people early on. You don't want to like avoid everyone. It's not a good strategy in Rumbleverse.
So then there are also weapons that you can pick up, some of which you can pocket, other ones you have to carry around. There's also chicken that you can pocket as well, and that heals you up when you eat it.
The butt chicken, basically.
Chicken,
Because
And there's
earthquake, butt chicken.
There's chicken shacks all around the city too, and chicken carts that you can walk up to and
you can hide chicken. You can hide stuff in bushes. Or you can leave chicken or whatever out in enticing locations as a chicken trap and blow up somebody else for coming to get your chicken. Yeah, so look,
it's like Zelda enemy bait, dude.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this game. I really think that there's a lot of strategy involved, not just in the fighting itself, but like the fighting is. I mean, we talk about some of the aspects of it, but a big part of it is that you will always have different specials. It's just whatever you happen to come across. Like you may have a preference, and maybe if you last a long time in a game, you come across enough magazines, maybe you'll get what you want. But oftentimes it's not really like that. So you have to like on the fly figure out how to put together a combo or a strategy based on the two.
That's cool.
You can also dodge cancel out of hits and stuff. So like
that's cool.
Like will you be punished or not is even a thing. Like you can maybe steal a turn by doing a dodge cancel or not doing a dodge cancel.
Yeah.
And the opponents don't know what special moves you have. So if you only use one special move around other people, they don't know what your second one is, and you may you may hide that second one in a way that will become really important. And maybe you like surprise somebody with something that they didn't know that you had after having even watched you play.
A couple of questions. Someone asked in the chat, are all the characters the same at start?
Yeah.
And they just graphically different. Obviously, you can.
Yeah,
correct.
it's just cosmetic. The game's completely free to play, and the only thing you pay for is cosmetics.
Okay, and second thing is, what is the controls? How many buttons, etc., etc.?
It's a full Xbox controller worth of buttons, basically.
Yeah.
There's an attack. There's regular attack, vicious attack. There's a use item button. There's a jump button. There's you click in the right stick to like ping things on the map. Left trigger is used for sprinting. Right trigger is used. Yeah, every button's used.
Yeah, there's block. There's special move 1. There's special move 2.
The D-pad is used.
That's what I was about to ask. When you get you get the special moves, how do you use them? For example,
you assign them to left bumper and right bumper when you pick it up.
Okay.
So even if you already have 2 special moves and you find a new move that you'd rather use, you can overwrite one of those moves, but you can only have 2 moves at one time.
Oh, cool. Okay, I see.
So there's strategy that goes along with that.
So in other words, as you beat up people, you don't just end up with 90 special moves at the end.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you can only have 2. So yeah, it's a game that I think has a lot of strategy. There's like obvious positional strategy. You know, whether you farm first, whether you farm after you fight with people, which moves do you like, which builds of drinks do you like, whatever combination of those things. Like I said, chicken traps is an option, maybe. Hiding information about which special moves you have is something that could be important. And then that even aside from just like the regular strategy of a fighting game of like whether to go in, whether to not, your footsies, your dancing around, your dodge canceling or not, your turn stealing, like all that stuff. Your Oki, there is an invincible wake up attack that people can do when they get knocked down. And so do you go in or not?
See, look at this. Even Rumbleverse is putting in invincible DPs, man.
This game definitely needs invincible DPs, dude.
It has another layer to it, James. So if you wake up with light attack, if you wake up with light attack, you get your invincible attack, right? You do a Zangief flare. If you wake up with vicious attack, so if your opponent is standing there waiting you for to wake up with your invincible attack and punish you, so you're standing there blocking, you wake up with vicious and you hit them with an unblockable, and you get a free combo after that. So people can't just sit there and block and loom over you menacingly while you wake up and make you pick. You have to make them pick sometimes as well.
Right.
So it's a bit different from traditional. I mean, it's kind of like a not invincible uppercut, I guess, because the vicious attack, you can hit people out of it. You can meaty people out of that.
Dude,
so
it's basically DP. It's like DP or command grab.
It's like basically, it's a hard read.
Man, amazing how you can actually turn invul DPs into a mind game, and that you don't actually have to remove them out of the game from every character.
I'm with you. That was one of Street Fighter V's biggest mistakes.
Oh man.
I think the game has a lot going for it. It is really, really fun. As full disclosure, I got to play, and so did Brock, a couple of betas beforehand, just like small tests. I didn't play it that much. I was gone for most of one weekend, and another one I think I did play, but not as much as I probably could have. And when I was playing it on Friday, I kind of wish that I had spent more time because I really enjoy the game, and I didn't know as much about it as like Brock did. Like I watched Brock's stream for a while before I actually streamed myself and played myself. And it was really cool seeing how much he knew about the game and like all the little like tricks he was doing.
So in other words,
little combo tech and ideas like that were really cool.
He's only good because he's a tester. So we have to ban the testers, basically.
Yeah, I should have been banned. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You see how I was absolutely wrecking everyone? There's no reason I should have been out there. I should have absolutely have been banned.
It was really good. I'm really looking forward. So the game comes out in I think February, if I recall.
Dude, everything is coming out in February, dude. Like
it's the packed month.
Are eating.
What happened? When did? You know why? It's because it's the end of the fiscal year. That's why everything comes out in February for games. Actually, no, I mean that is one of the legit reasons. Is because once March ends, that's when you report all of your annual earnings. And so if you are low so people tend to release things around February to get yeah. So I mean, Cone says February 8th, I guess, is early release and full release is later in February.
Trailers were saying February 8th is early release, and then I believe full release is a week later. So early release, this game is not going to be like we're an early release for 3 years. Like I think full releases, like their actual day one is February 15th.
So
okay, it's soon. I mean,
it's not soon enough. We didn't talk about the cosmetics at all. So first of all, I built the most hilarious guy, the most hilarious dude was by me. I think we can all agree. Obviously, we can all agree on that one, including Brock. Brock agrees with that. There's just a ton of options. What I like about the character creation is that you can just do whatever you want. Like there's no like a guy can't wear a bikini. Like it doesn't have that kind of a rule. Like you just wear absolutely whatever you want. And it's also not like many other games where there's like one upper body thing that you do. This one is more like whatever you can fit on the character. So there's like you can put on like a shirt and then a jacket, and then also like little gloves, and also like tattoos that go kind of like on your upper arm. Like you can just whatever you can fit on the character is what it feels like. And I really like that. There was a lot of freedom in your character choice. And like a lot of expressiveness, I feel, which is important to me. So I'm looking forward to that. And then there's also really, really super funny set of emotes. They had the worm on there, and you could actually travel around by worming. It's not just like you can do it in place. So like you're worming across, the ground. And there's also I forget what they call it. Is it called Super Thumb? I think. Yeah, exactly.
No, that was the glitch from the wrestling game.
Wrestling emote in Rumbleverse.
I know. I saw the video of that, and as soon as I saw the emote, I was like, "That's the wrestling glitch."
It's genius. So I feel like those two are basically compulsory. Like, what do you like? Imagine not taking both of those.
There is a play dead emote that takes up stamina because they don't want you to play dead for too long. But I saw two people fighting. I have this on stream. Saw two people fighting, not paying attention to me. I was like, I'm going to run up and play dead. And I laid down, and they fought around me for a good 10, 15 seconds before I got up and punched them.
Wow.
So you can it's actually effective, too. Like,
I'm glad. Strategic? That's so
I'm glad that it takes stamina, because it'd be very cheap if it didn't.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would have to go and punch every person on the ground, right?
Yeah, it would be a problem. Well, it would be a problem.
It says KO over people who are dead.
Yeah, but
like, there's a little KO bubble.
It would be a problem.
I think that's cool, though. I didn't know that you could do that. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh, yeah, what's my character like? Basically, my character has cat claws and cat paws for both hands and feet. And then it has, like, a beekeeper's mask that covers its entire face. It's all yellow. And you can't see any of its face at all, except for its gigantic, bushy walrus mustache that's external to the mask. And tight little yellow underwear. That's the whole character, and it's actually genius. I have to say, when I found it, I was very proud of myself. I think that was the best.
I didn't spend a ton of time on my creative character.
I could tell.
He looked very great. I mean, very much more stylish than David's for sure. But outside of that, I'm just excited for if this game blows up. When this game blows up. Can you imagine all the tie-ins they're going to be able to do with the cosmetics? Am I going to be able to wear Batman's gloves and Spider-Man's masks and Wolverine's boots all at the same time? Because I really want to.
That's awesome. That'd be sick. Yeah. I mean, Epic's involved, so who knows, right? I guess anything could come. Yeah.
So, I mean, with Epic development, but I mean, Epic is publishing it. So, but Iron Galaxy is the guys making the game, right?
They're the developers.
They're the developers. Okay.
They've been doing this. Yeah. They proposed it to Epic, I believe. So.
Yeah. So if Epic is publishing it, there's definitely going to be a lot of power backing this. So this is going to have the potential to be very, very big. So that's actually going to be really, really cool. And again, hearing. Someone like Keats, Adam Hart, of course, good friends of Ultra Chen TV, I guess, just it's cool to see him be able to work on something that has the potential to be this big and successful. Because I mean, this guy, he comes up with a lot of great ideas and such. So it'll be fun to track this, and hopefully less stressful than making a fighting game.
I somehow doubt it's less stressful, but we're gonna have him on next week as our guest, so we can ask him then.
Spoilers, come on.
No, I mean, I think we're already talking about.
No, I know.
I know. We're bringing the lead designer on next week. So
no, we have to promote that. We have to get people. Yeah, we got to get people to actually show up. So I'm just trying to play it off like it was some big special secret. That's all.
If you guys have questions, save them up for Keats. He'll be here next week. I don't know exactly what he can and can't answer, but shoot your shit in the chat. I mean, the worst case, we don't read your question.
My question is. So, no KI2? What's going on over there?
I saw some people posting stuff like that on internet forums.
KI's
and I'm
dead?
just like, I think somebody said along the lines of, if we had to give up KI2 for this, I guess I'm okay with it. Do you really think that Iron Galaxy gets to choose when Killer Instinct gets to make a game? Come on, man. That's not how this works.
They can just make whatever game they want with whatever IP they want. They chose not to, for sure.
Yeah, that's what happened here.
Most game publishing companies very rarely get to decide what game they are making. That is the reality. Unless, of course, you're unless you have that ability, or you're just like some big name and you're just like, Daisuke, and you're just like, you know what, I'm making another Guilty Gear, and Arxis is like, okay. But for the most part,
I think that's what Iron Galaxy basically did with this. They had the dream and were like, we're gonna do it. So.
Right.
That's pretty cool. We'll talk with Adam.
Yeah, we'll ask Adam.
Adam Hurt.
Yeah, actually.
Adam Hurt.
Adam Hurt. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll ask him about how his name is spelled next time.
Maybe he'll have the potential to tell us how it just all kind of came to be. That would be
cool. Absolutely. Hopefully.
Yeah. Alrighty. The Rumbleverse. Beefy game.
Okay.
Number 2, we move on to
the ever prestigious and amazing Game Awards.
The Game Awards. Big news. It was this past weekend. Past week. It was on Thursday night. It was huge. Kind of literally, because it was like 3.25 hours long.
Yeah, about 3.5 hours long.
It was very long. Yeah, including the pre-show. It was basically the entire night.
From what I, gleaned from this, I felt like it seemed like it was kind of like a little haphazard or something like that, because it felt like the content kept getting interrupted by like these awards or something. Like, it was just like everybody wants to sit there and see like trailers and stuff, but then they kept trying to give out prizes or something. It was really strange.
I'm actually in complete agreement with you. If they could just avoid doing that. They almost kind of did, actually, because there was a string of time where the host read off like multiple categories in a row, and it was just like, here's I think it was when they gave out the fighting game award. I think there were other ones that were like at the same time. He was like, best fighting game of the year goes to the only option, Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah.
Hey, what about Jesus and Marion Barry Chain's question in the chat? I missed the Game Awards. What was the big NRS announcement?
What was the big NRS announcement?
That Mortal Kombat 11 is on Game Pass, that they announced a few days after the Game Awards. So weird.
That's NRS right now stands for nothing really special, because nothing really special got announced at the Game Awards.
Nothing revealed.
James said it. NRS community, come for James Chen. He said that shit. Fight him.
Yeah, nothing revealed somehow. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, they didn't. So, look, there were rumors. Pretty much, we talked about it last week. Like, what do we expect? And part of what we talked about was, like, what do we think that NRS is going to do? Like, we kind of gave into that too. But there was, to be honest, like, no indication from the devs that there was going to be an announcement.
Except Boone and Tobias were there together.
Can you believe that Boone hung out with Tobias? That must mean something. Boone hung out with the guy who used to work at NRS, Hector.
I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust that he would just be hanging out with a guy that he knew. Look, man, the pandemic has made me like eagle eye this type of stuff, right? Like, if there's a pandemic and you don't have an announcement, why would you go to the Game Awards? Is basically how I felt. So I'm like, why would Ed Boon be at the Game Awards with his friend during a pandemic? if he's not announcing something. Like that was my train of thought. So I blame the pandemic for making me feel like there's no reason he should have been there. Why would he risk it? Of course he's announcing something. All right, that's my excuse for getting got.
That's probably a hangout like going to a fighting game event for us. Like he's going to see a lot of people he's known in the industry for 25, 30 years, and they'll get to hang out, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty
I do
good
want
draw.
to address, what Stephanie says in the chat as well, is that obviously the Game Awards do mean a lot for the developers. It's just, I talked about this at length on Synchronized last week. Like, I just feel like we have to get to a point where, it's tough because, I don't know how to sum it up quickly, but it just feels like, the Game Awards, the way they're rewarding things, like, best indie game, best fighting game, and it's just like, it just seems kind of haphazard. Like, I feel like there shouldn't even be indie versus major production kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it should just be, once we're getting, and the other hardest part about this too, honestly, this is you can't blame the Game Awards for this, but like when you vote for Best Picture in the Oscars, you are not allowed to vote for categories where you have not seen the majority of the movies, I believe is what it is, right? Okay. And so in the span of a year, if you are a movie fanatic, you can actually watch the majority of the movies that came out that year that are significant. When it comes to video games, it's like someone's going to be like, you know what? I need to vote on this category. Let me knock Breath of the Wild out this weekend. And this is what makes video game awards really hard, in my opinion. And I'm not sure what the best way to solve that is, but it's like, it takes so much time, and there's so many games, and any indie game can come out and just be the most amazing thing. Like, what was it? It Takes Two won the majority of the awards, and that's more of an indie game, right? And so, that's awesome. I love to see that, but it's just, how do you get a chance to try everything? How can you properly feel like the people voting, like it's user vote, isn't it? Isn't it just like fan voting, or how does it work? I don't know.
My memory of it is that it's 90% whoever chooses, like whatever their experts are, and then 10% fan vote.
They do have, okay, yeah, they're 10%.
Oh, it's not really an indie game. Okay. See, I'm not even sure, to be honest. So,
yeah, I think the publisher for that was EA, if I recall correctly. Anyway. Look, so fighting game of the year, Guilty Gear Strive. The other contenders were Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, The Hinokami Chronicles, Melty Blood, Type Lumina, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. So, I feel like there's like two plausible contenders, and like one of them was clearly the one that was going to win. I mean, not to say anything negative about Melty Blood, which seems like a very fun game. I played it for a little while. But like, Guilty Gear is certainly a bigger property than that. So I felt like that was not a surprise. But anyway, cool. Congratulations to the devs. Obviously very well deserved. It's an awesome game.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like something when you nominate art direction, right? And you nominate art direction, how is a game like Guilty Gear Strive not in art direction? Right? Because it's like literally that's all of the
Guilty Gear not come up for music of a game in the year or whatever.
Music, multiplayer, like there's a lot of other options I think that games like that should be in contention for, but as not surprised as I was about Gear winning that fighting game award, I was also not surprised that it didn't show up anywhere else. I would be very surprised, in fact, if a fighting game ever showed up in best multiplayer or any other category.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So like, I mean, obviously there is an element of feeling like a lot of it is popularity contest. And, as much as, again, I only know all this stuff because my brother was super involved with it, even in the movie industry. Like, most of the time when you get the Best Picture nominees, for the most part, a lot of those movies are kind of the best movies of the year from a critical standpoint. Like, they're actually good movies, and the art direction typically is some of the best art direction. Direction is typically a lot of the best direction of the year, and I just feel like Even Stephanie says in the chat, like, what is an indie game? Why is there an indie category, right? There's a lot in that I feel like needs to be ironed out before the awards can feel as legit as possible, in my opinion. So.
Well, I mean, there are other awards after all, other awards ceremonies or people who give out awards. For this one specifically, I feel like the thing about it is the reveals. Like, that's why people are watching. If you're a dev, I'm sure that you're interested in the actual results, but obviously I was watching for the reveals. So anything else to say about the awards, or you want to talk about the things that were shown?
Yeah, let's talk about some more of the stuff. So, I mean, we mentioned that obviously NRS wasn't representative there, but I don't know, I guess some people were expecting it, but there definitely was some King of Fighters news that showed up at the awards, and to everybody's surprise, they announced that a second beta was happening literally the next weekend. So a lot of people were not expecting that, and they were announced that 8 different characters than we played in the first beta are going to be playable, including brand new character Cronin, who was revealed at the event as well.
I think you mean K49.
Yeah, basically.
You mean K9999?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you guys know the whole story behind K49.
Absolutely not.
So
tell us, Jane. Revel us in the story.
So what I was told is that K49 is basically Tetsuo from Akira. Like, he looked like him. He had the big alien arm like him. He was voiced by the same guy. K-Dash, I think, was voiced by the guy who played one of the other characters in the movie. They even had lines that, like, kind of referenced it and everything like that. They got sued. They got cease and desisted. And so K49, basically, Kaneda, that's what it was, yeah. And then basically, that's why in 2002 he shows up with like the name Nameless. He shows up as Nameless, and they had to redraw him completely in a completely new sprite, in a completely new. They even tried to give him his own storyline, and suddenly he's a Martian or whatever like that. But now it seems like they're going back to the K49 storyline, but now renaming him to Cronin and making him look a little bit different. So he looks kind of like a blend between Nameless and K49. And so that's how they're trying to like fix the story or something like that.
You're just confirming my bias that there's no such thing as a good fighting game story right
Facts.
now.
Well,
completely...
He's a Martian.
Like, I mean, but see, the thing is, he was a Martian in the non-canon game. In the non-canon game, 2002 is not a canon game; it's a Dreamhack.
That's not confusing at all.
And, no, it's not. It's super confusing. But the thing about it is, like, every SNK fan loves the story, and the story is actually pretty consistent. So it's hard to say that the storyline in KOF games sucks, because that's like one of the main whole driving forces of the franchise, and the more you talk...
I feel like when you have to say something is consistent, and that's like a positive to it, that's like the bare minimum of what something should be. That's not saying anything for me. It's consistent. Well, if it's consistently shit, it's still shit.
It's the thing about it is, it's like, it's like that many people who are fans of, like, I haven't met an SNK fan who isn't obsessed with the storyline.
I'm not saying they can't be, but I'm obsessed with like a lot of things that are garbage. I'm aware that they're bad. I really love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball story is so terrible. The power scaling is all over the place. It makes no sense. But I really love Dragon Ball. Like, I just know that it's bad. It's okay. You can like bad things.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who really care about Street Fighter storyline. I know
there is no storyline in Street Fighter.
There is a storyline in comic books, and there's cartoons, and there's
games are set after other games. Like, there is a storyline in it. It's just,
oh man,
I don't even know if it's bad. I never watched the one for SF5. I couldn't even tell you. For MK, at least the last couple of games have been good, but there are people who've really been into MK's story ever since literally the first one. And it really matters to some people. So whatever. I mean, enjoy what you like. Who cares? He's a Martian is what I'm going to go with for forevermore. So will this Martian be in the beta? Do we know?
What's that?
Will the Martian be in the beta?
well, Cronin will be in there, yeah, but he's not a
Oh,
Martian
cool.
anymore, so unfortunately.
Oh,
so.
dude, that's unfortunate.
he's
He got
not a Martian.
revoked. His citizenship was revoked
Because that was all nameless in the dream match. Were you not paying attention? That was in the dream match game. That was in the dream match game.
This is a fever dream.
Yeah, it might have been all a dream. Okay, and then there was another announcement with respect to fighting games during the Game Awards. It's that Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is getting a release on PS4, Switch, and PC. Release date, March 17th, 2022.
But tell me, David, does it have rollback?
I don't know the answer to that.
And also, the question is, why would they go through this much work to release a re-release P4A Ultimax on all these new platforms if that wasn't an indication that a P5 Arena might be coming out at some point in time?
I mean, you would imagine that that's coming. You would imagine that that's coming, but also if you remember back in like 2014, 2015, whatever it was, Capcom re-released Vampire Savior and put out a teaser trailer that said Vampire is not dead.
Darkstalkers are not dead.
Darkstalkers are not dead, and yet it's so dead.
Well, remember, so remember though, they re-released Darkstalkers as a gauge to see the interest in Darkstalkers.
Is a terrible idea.
Yeah, because no one bought the Darkstalkers collection.
We got 40 seconds. Do you guys have any games that were interesting to you in the reveals? Anything that you wanted to point out in particular?
Yeah, the game with the shark, big old shark game, DC, Suicide Squad game.
Suicide Squad, you're going for here, yeah.
Yep, that was the dope. That was the highlight for me for sure. Good old shark, King Shark.
Dude, that's hilarious. Yeah, I agree. I think that Suicide Squad looked really good. I really liked how that looked. It looked like you could do a lot of interesting, fun stuff. I'm obviously interested in Dune RTS. Okay, taking it back.
That's
going to
be the end of your life, David.
And also 4X. I'm actually not sure I'll allow myself to play that game.
Didn't they make an open world Sonic game? Didn't they announce an open world Sonic game?
Yeah, but they didn't show any gameplay yet, so I can't get excited for it.
Look, I know we're out of time. I'm just going to say, I haven't watched any of the reveals except the fighting game ones. I don't even know what the reveals are, so I have no answer to that. So I was doing commentary during the time that was going on.
When that WB thing came on, and people were like, "Ooh, a new Injustice" for like 2 seconds until they thought it just turned out it's just Wonder Woman.
Oh man.
Anyway,
all right, moving on. Let's get Nicky in here. That guy, where's that Nicky guy?
All right. Well, before we get Nicky in here, we're going to take a quick break so that we can get him situated into the stream. So we will be right back, guys. Do not go anywhere. We are bringing on KI World Champion NickyFGC. So you do not want to miss this. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. While my cat decides to rub his head all over the microphone here. Hi. My cat really missed me. This is the first time I've traveled a weekend in like 2 years, and I think they were freaked out by it. And when I came back, they were just like, yeah, they were super happy. So, all right. Well, we have a very special one here for you guys today because we are bringing on not just any player today, but literally the world champion of Killer Instinct. And that is Mr. NickyFGC. Let's bring him on here. Hi, Nicky. How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I just want you to know that knowing that you are coming today, you see this?
Oh man, that's a classic.
You see
I haven't seen that shirt in years.
I even got the.
That's awesome. That was the first World Cup.
The World Cup hoodie here and everything.
Oh man,
I was all ready for you. See, themed here.
Very nice. Very nice. On brand.
I mean, Tubo has the robot on his shirt too, so he's on brand too.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. David with the ECT merch representing Connecticut. I'll take it.
This is all back to
all
Nicky.
planned. Yeah,
all back to Nicky. All right. So, of course, we are going to be talking about the KI World Cup, but let's start by talking about you. And let's start by talking about how it is that you got into fighting games and how it is that you got into taking fighting games seriously enough to start competing.
Sure. I mean, I've been playing fighting games my whole life. I was born in 1995, so I'm a young guy compared to a lot of the OGs. But I did start competing right out of high school. I was about 18 years old. I started traveling for KI like a year after that. My first game actually was Injustice 1. Was the game that really got me into the FGC because I'm such a big superhero fan, DC, Marvel, whatever you have. And I found out they were making a superhero fighting game, and I was all in. I had played Mortal Kombat 9. I found out the developers of that were making a new fighting game, and I was just, bam, I was like, you can play as, Raven from the Teen Titans. This is awesome. And I started, learning fighting game stuff after that. Frame data, what have you, hitboxes, hurtboxes. I went right into the meat of competitive stuff because I'm just a super sweaty person like that. And then when Killer Instinct came out, it translated really well because they had all the frame data in game and hitboxes and hurtboxes and what have you, and it just kind of steamrolled.
That's interesting. So, I mean, like as a casual player, like none of that stuff intimidated you, huh? You were just like all in.
Did he do the casual phase, or were you just like in there competitively?
I was a casual, like basically before high school. Like I played Smash Bros. And the first fighting game I actually played was Tekken 2 for the PS1. That was my first ever fighting game.
Okay.
So, not super old, but old now, I guess. That was my first ever fighting game. I used to play that a lot with my cousins growing up, and of course that was super casual. But I didn't really focus a lot on fighting games after that. It was like I played that when I was maybe 5 or 6, and I came back around to fighting games towards the end of high school, right before KI came out.
What is it about fighting games that drew you to them?
The competitive atmosphere. The first time I watched Evo 2013 was the first tournament that I ever watched, and I watched it live. And I watched Sonic Fox versus Pig of the Hut in grand finals of Evo for Injustice 1. And that was like, I have to be a part of this. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. People are going absolutely freaking nuts in the crowd, and those guys look like they're having the time of their lives. I want to do this. This looks amazing.
Yeah, I commentated that. I remember I was rooting so hard for Pig of the Hut, but I was trying not to let on. I don't know if that was obvious or not.
Wow.
I mean,
I was like, we can't let this little kid beat us. Like, oh man.
We'll get to this in a little bit, but I mean, like, you're watching Sonic Fox win this thing, and you're probably thinking to yourself, I'm gonna be a world champion one of these days. I mean, is that kind of what came to your head? And like, did you really think you could get to that point?
Realistically, I don't think I was looking at going for the gold as much as I was really looking at just being a part of that atmosphere, being a part of the community and submersing myself in like being a part of the FGC and going to tournaments and just the whole, the whole experience. That's really what I wanted out of it. Meeting people that love fighting games as much as I did, and just making new friends and stuff like that. The competitive stuff kind of just was a byproduct of that, going to KI tournaments and stuff like that, and ended up placing really, really well for many years. That stuff kind of just happened after that. I don't know. And when you pick a pretty good character, I guess that happens too.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Yeah,
you got carried.
Did you have competitive stuff other than fighting games before fighting games? Like, did you take sports seriously, or?
I was never an athlete. Somewhat. I was in karate as a child. I got my black belt in Tang Sudo when I was 12 years old. So I did do competitions for other things technically. But no, mostly it's very weird because I'm not naturally too competitive of a person when it comes to things other than fighting games. I'm kind of more chill, I think, mellow outside of fighting games, or maybe even like board games, I think would be the next most competitive thing for me. Okay. Games in general. But other than that, I mean, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, so I'm pretty free and open. I don't really do a whole lot of the.
Do you draw a lot? Do you play music?
Yeah, yes, I'm a musician. I play bass, I sing, I do guitar.
Hey, by the way,
what have you.
I just want to say that I did not approve of this interview because I don't like this guy, by the way. Because not only is he a world champion of video games, and he's a beautiful human being, and now I find out he's an amazing musician, he's an artist, he's like super kind-hearted. What is this? I mean,
not only that, not only does Nicky have fans, but you also have the Ultra Tech students, right? So you're also a teacher.
I do also teach people how to play Killer Instinct professionally. Is my main my main gig is I run a Patreon service where I teach people how to play Killer Instinct day in and day out, sometimes 7-8 hours a day, just constantly grinding with people, teaching them matchups, teaching them how to play the game, giving them my 2 cents on, the meta of the game, allowing them to pick my brain for 30 minutes, 60 minutes at a time, whatever they want. I mean, I've been playing the game since it came out, so
but
I have a lot of experience.
Those students aren't his OnlyFans, right? I mean, you were almost a fan as well, right, Tubo? I just wanted to say, right? So.
I was almost a fan, but I decided.
Oh no!
And that's why I'm part of Ultratech University.
So talk to us about your career arc in KI, like starting out.
Hang on, hang on. David, ask your question again. My audio program died on me right when you asked that question, and it just crashed. So I need to get that answer again. So start the question again, and then get to the answer again. I'm sorry.
Hello, Nicky. My name is David Graham. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. We're going to be talking about how your career arc in KI was from when it began to eventually becoming one of the top players.
Sure. So my first ever offline tournament for the game was in June of 2014, and it was an offline tournament, and it was a regional tournament in Connecticut, hosted by Walter, who helps run East Coast Throwdown. He ran an event called Resistance, and I traveled there. It was about 20 minutes away from where I live, and that was my first ever offline FGC experience ever. It was like an 18-player bracket, but it was kind of stacked. You had people like Paul B at the time, who was really good, CD Jr., Rico Suave, like really like KI top players went to that event. I went there and I ended up getting 9th, so I was one shy of like top 8 or whatever. And I was like, this was a really fun tournament. I got to meet a lot of people. Some of my best friends that I have now, I met at that tournament. Some of my favorite people in the scene. And I just kept traveling and traveling and traveling. I went to tournaments in New York, then I went to New Jersey, then I started traveling even further. I took a Greyhound from Bridgeport, Connecticut, all the way down to North Carolina. I spent 20 hours in a van from Harlem, New York, all the way down to Orlando to go to CEO 2015, where I got 9th. I just grinded and grinded and grinded and traveled to all these different places, where eventually I went to Combo Breaker 2016. I got 2nd place at Combo Breaker, and that was the breakout tournament that started the birth of Circa, Nicky. That's when I first got sponsored by Circa.
Old Circle Nicholas.
Yep.
Sorry, but that's only a couple of years, right? I mean, between when the game came out, or maybe when you started playing it, the first tournament you went to, and then getting top 2 is a couple years. And I guess maybe at the time you might have felt like that was a long time because you were relatively young, but that is actually a pretty brief period of time for people to become as strong as you did. So how do you feel like you made that happen?
Well, I really just feel like it was about putting my nose to the grindstone and just never being happy with, okay, I made my first top 8. I made 5th place. I made 4th place. I got 2nd. I got 3rd. I got 2nd. And then just trying to get that 1st place offline victory. I was more hungry than ever to keep traveling to these events and try to secure a win. The Killer Instinct World Cup was, a fresh thing back in 2016, and I was really, really trying to get that qualified spot. And it never really happened for the first event. I got enough points to qualify, but I never really solidified myself until season 3. So the middle of like 2016 is when I really kind of came out of my shell and actually started winning big events and solidified myself as a top player in the scene.
No. Talk to me about Killer Instinct here. You said you obviously came in here with Injustice because you're a fan of superheroes and everything like that. But somehow Killer Instinct, I guess, spoke to you differently than a lot of the other fighting games, right? Obviously, it's kind of one of the smaller ones right now. It still has a super dedicated scene. But what is it about? Sing the praises of Killer Instinct to me. Tell me why everybody should be playing this game.
It came down to the music for me, man. It's the best fighting game soundtrack on the planet. And Injustice just kind of didn't have that. So, or I guess most NRS games just don't have that.
What are you talking about? What are you talking?
Oh man, I'm trying to imagine for somebody who cares about music in fighting games, the choice between Injustice and Killer Instinct is too funny.
Real obvious.
It's too funny.
Just to be honest, I mean, I'm calling it like I see it. I had
100%.
I had just got an Xbox One. It was the only fighting game on the console, so I played it. And I had never touched the older games. I was not an original Killer Instinct fan. I didn't know anything about the older games at all.
That's fine.
At all.
That's fine.
Yeah, they're not good, so don't worry about it.
It was the music of the soundtrack that did it for me, and the music just kept getting better and better with season 2 and season 3, and I was like, I guess I have no reason to go back to Injustice 1, right?
I mean, we're gonna have to call this show the We Love Keats show at this point, but like, because we were talking about Rumbleverse, but the menu screen, when you scroll through the menu, plays a melody. I mean,
Keats didn't do that. Don't.
Okay, fair.
Don't give Adam the.
He had nothing to do with that.
Fair.
No, but look, I mean,
credit for that.
What I find interesting is that you're not giving answers that are kind of the typical, especially for somebody who becomes a champion at their game. A lot of the times it's like people are focused by the competition. That's what draws them in. And then they like a game because it has certain mechanics, but you're much more, it sounds like to me at least, about the community and then about the sort of game aesthetics, the sound of it, than about the stuff that I feel like oftentimes is what drives somebody who becomes a champion. So how do you reconcile that?
This is why I hate this guy. He like fell into championship, man. Like he didn't do any work. What the hell? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Not one bit.
Oh man.
No, go ahead. Go.
It's really funny that you say that, because a lot of people will say that a lot of my victories are it's because of the characters that I play. Even though I've won multiple championships with multiple different characters, but I guess that's besides the point. It really comes down to I guess the passion I have for the game, man. I've been playing the game came out in November of 2013, right? So over 8 years now I've been playing, right? And I've been with the game through all the patches, all the hundreds of thousands of Killer Instinct patches that there were, and I've seen the game develop into what it is now. So I guess I'm just very, I grew to be very comfortable with the game and all the mechanics and understanding the characters and the matchups and all that stuff. So I guess it all just became second nature, which is why I'm not, necessarily fantastic at any other one fighting game. I dabble in NRS games, I've dabbled in Guilty Gear and a whole bunch of other different fighting games, and I'm decent, and I can, I do okay. But Killer Instinct is the game that I'm always the best at, because it's the game I not only put the most time into, but the game I care about the most, and because I love the community, and because I have the passion for the game, it's only natural that I would be better at that game. I spend more time on it, so I guess that's my answer for that. I guess.
Fair enough. I think that's pretty cool. All right, cool. Well, you want to talk about the KI World Cup?
I would love to talk about the KI World Cup. What a doozy that was.
How easy it was, Nicky. How easy was this win for you?
It was a lot easier than it would have been if the bracket was different. I feel like my bracket was my path was very blessed. I was very close to fighting some players that could have easily taken me out, that have taken me out many times this year. And I fought players that for better or for worse, I was more confident against than a lot of the people in the bracket. Like if the person who, like I won my round 1 match against Wheels, and then the guy I thought I was going to fight in round 2 lost, and I was like, oh, I got to fight this other guy instead? Oh, no way. And then it just kind of one thing happened after another.
Walk us through that. Let us know.
Yeah,
sure. So round 1, I had to fight against Wheels, and Wheels is a very close friend of mine. We're always bickering back and forth on social media and what have you. But at the end of the day, we're really close friends. And I notoriously have always done really bad against his Gargos. And he just played Eagle the entire set, and I don't know why. And I haven't gotten an answer yet still. And okay. So I ended up beating his Eagle 3-1 in the first round. Okay. That really surprised me. In round 2, I thought I was going to fight a player named Carnitas. He's a Glacius player from the Las Vegas area, and he's incredible. And he's beaten me a lot in the past year. He lost to a player from New Zealand who plays Asako, named Yorsh, and I fought him, and I beat him 3-1 as well. Fulgor is one of Hisako's hardest matchups, so I was not at all worried, and I did very well. For top 8 winners, I had to play a player named DeChronicle, who's arguably one of the greatest Killer Instinct players of the year. Super consistent, the Aria player of all Aria players. And that was the hardest set of the entire tournament for me. He took me down 3-2 to the wire, and he didn't react to something at the very end of the match, and I ended up chipping him out. And I was like, okay, that was the hardest thing I had to do in the entire tournament. I made top 8 winners. I had to fight a player named Crazy Skate Nate, who is a Season 1 veteran. He plays every character in the cast at a high level, and he's arguably the best Omen player, which is Fulgor's hardest matchup. Believe it or not, the character has bad matchups. He picked Orchid, which is one of Fulgor's easiest matchups, and didn't ever switch to Omen. And you would think that I paid these players to pick these characters for me so I could win, but they really just played their worst matchups, and I they never switched on a loss.
Your birthday coming up is
August. No, way past.
Man,
so you did fall into championship. No, just kidding. Oh man!
It really ended up being a very lucky bracket for me. I beat his Orchid 3-1, and I had to fight Sonic Dolphin in winners finals and in grand finals against his Kilgore. Now he's picked Kim Woo and Arbiter on me in the past, and those have been pretty. At first, his Kim Woo was giving me trouble, but then I learned the matchup because she was a new character, a newer-ish character at the time, and I wasn't as familiar because you couldn't get much Kim Woo experience back then besides him, and we hadn't played much. So once we started playing more, I kind of figured things out, and I was always very comfortable against Arbiter. So he tried Kilgore this time, and it was the best Kilgore I've ever fought, but I guess I felt too comfortable, and it just happened to win. I fell into championship on game 7. It was a miracle.
No, I mean, obviously, I'm joking with you because we got to know each other doing some of those KI tournaments from a while ago, from some bad times, I guess, kind of.
They were great. They were the best of times.
Yeah, best of times. But I kind of want to get back to that a little bit because you were doing your own content creation. You were running your own KI league. You're doing the Ultra Tech stuff. So you weren't even playing as much because, like, even in your own tournaments, you would stay out of it. You would let everybody else play and everything like that. So, like, how hard was it to maintain that skill? And do you feel like the Ultra Tech University, you teaching people, kind of helped you stay fresh during that time?
It gave me a whole new outlook on the game, and although I wasn't playing as much competitive sets as I normally would be for training for tournament purposes, I was learning new things about the game because I'm teaching people the game. So I'm going out of my way to learn the entire cast. I can officially say that I'm comfortable with playing the entire cast of Killer Instinct, all 29 characters. I can play at least a semi-decent high level, I would say. So I'm at a point with the game where I might be the most comfortable with every single character. So although I wasn't getting that high level gameplay, like, first death sets with high level players every single day training for World Cup, I was leveling up in a different way and getting more comfortable with the game itself in ways that I never was before. I was only ever playing Fulgore and Mira for years, and at any point I felt like I could pick out another character and do very well with them if I wanted to. Of course, for this tournament, I stuck to what I was comfortable with, and it ended up being the better decision. But I really do feel like being able to teach new players almost leveled me up in a way that you can't get from high level sets. Being able to teach that knowledge that you think you have in your head, but saying it out loud and giving it to somebody else, something about that almost makes you understand it better. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I've been doing commentary lessons, been giving commentary lessons, and I feel like I've thought more about commentary and have learned more about commentary than in like the years previous because of that. Because like you're forced, as you said, you're forced to like learn more about something to help somebody else attack something from a different angle than you've ever had to deal with it yourself. That's
the adage, right? You never really truly understand something until you can teach it to somebody else, is what they say. So, that's kind of why I asked the question, because I really was curious how much, that Ultra Tech University played a part, and it sounds like it played a big part.
It was a game changer for me, and I didn't win any other KI World Cup qualifiers in the entire time span. I had placed just enough to get points. I think I was the 25th seed out of 32 players, and it ended up working out perfectly.
I see what you were playing the points game. You were like, all right, if I get the 25th seed, the chances are in the bracket I'll land right about here. I know what you were doing. You plotted this all along.
I really, really wish that I could say that was the truth, but it just ended up working out that way. I really did not mean for this to happen. I was running my own KI World Cup events with James. I wasn't entering to get those points. I was giving the points out to other people. They just happened to get the points, and I ended up winning on the big day, I guess.
Can you talk about how the tour went in terms of, talk about some of the people involved and the structure of it for folks who may not have been watching?
Sure, yeah. So the KI World Cup has been in effect for like over a year now. It started, I think, back in winter of last year when I started running the Insurrection with James. I did 2 seasons of that, and every one of my events were World Cup qualifiers. And a lot of community members came together to really put the KI World Cup together for the pandemic, because the KI scene started booming again during lockdown because people wanted to play games with rollback netcode. So KI ended up getting a whole resurgence of players, and Brandon Alexander and his team, came together to bring back the KI World Cup, and they said it was going to be online. And a lot of the community members and even top players like myself, Devil May Care 4, who runs the DMC 3v3, which is one of the greatest KI events we've ever seen in terms of production.
Very cool.
Aphex Arcade, who's a top Rash player, he runs his event called The Revival. He's doing an event right now. He came together and he was like, okay, yeah, let's put some events together. And he came out with a monthly tournament of his own, and we started just making our own events and learning how to not only be tournament organizers but content creators. So it leveled up the entire community as a whole competitively in terms of content, and it helped keep the community going strong. A lot of people always like to say that KI is a game that's not a lot. That KI is dead. The community doesn't support the game. When reality, it's probably stronger now than it's ever been, because we have so many new players coming in. I see new players coming to me to learn the game on a weekly basis. It's insane.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. How about for the event itself, for the championship? Can you talk a little bit about how other players played, like anything that stood out to you, any matches or players who stood out to you?
In the actual World Cup itself, there were so many insane moments that really would not have been noticed if it wasn't on a World Cup stage, and I'm glad that they were.
Okay.
Night Slash putting oh my god, I think he put Chronicles assist, and he punched it, and it did 60% to the one assist when he called it, and it was just so many people, and Maximilian restreamed the event too. So many people got to see Aganos just destroying characters, putting them through walls. So many people got to see the madness that is Rash, the character, and Alex V not getting on his bike, James getting on his boat. And
exactly.
But by far, one of the greatest competitive events for Killer Instinct we've ever seen. We really got to showcase a lot of the amazing characters that the game has to offer, and show that the Killer Instinct community right now, competitively, is way better than it ever has been before, because players like Alex V, who've only been playing since Season 3, and a lot of new players that I've helped teach that were a part that qualified for the World Cup. I have a couple of players that were trained by me that qualified and got into the event as well in the top 32. So to say that
awesome.
helped those players get there is
part of that
insane.
whole thing, right? Like, if you train them, is that if they ever run into a tournament, they have to pick the bad matchups, right? I mean, is that
That's what happened.
I've lost to them in bracket before. It's happened.
Oh,
It's
wow, dude, that's crazy. That's cool.
So cool.
Right? I think it is. That's it's the greatest thing I could ever ask for, is that people learn from me and it works.
Right. Oh, man.
That is really cool. Who made it into the top 32? Who was trained by you? I'm curious.
So there was 3 players in particular that had a little bit of experience before me, but I really think solidified their gameplay after they came to me for help, which was Luna Dunno, who she's an Aria player from, I believe, the Netherlands. There is a Rash player named Leo Sensei. He's from Texas. And then a new Omen player. His name is Insight. And I hadn't heard of it. I did not hear of this player until the KI World Cup this year, and he came out of nowhere and just smoked everybody with Omen in the World Cup series and managed to qualify.
Dang.
That's so cool.
Now, I mean, obviously, look, it's a big deal, and I know you're being very humble, but I mean, how does it feel to be the absolute, that's the worst interview question in the world, is how does it feel? But honestly, how does it feel to know that you are the KI world champion as of, December 14th, 2021?
It's a really crazy feeling knowing that I went the entire year, I kind of downplayed myself the entire time. I'm just a commentator now, my glory days are behind me. I did all that stuff. I won CEO and Combo Breaker already, but these new cats, these are the future. These guys are the future of KI, right? And for me to just, I don't know, it's almost poetic, right? That after the year was said and done, I was still the best player of the year. I don't know, maybe it's just that one day. It's a really weird experience. I can't put it into words. It's really weird that they let a commentator win the whole thing, though. That's kind of strange.
Unbelievable.
I don't know if they let you. I feel like maybe you came in there and took it. Well, actually, those character selections, maybe they did let you.
Yeah.
The jury's still out.
Now, I saw on Twitter, you said you dabble in music, or maybe that's actually more your thing. But a couple of you guys are doing tracks together from the KI community, right? So
yes.
Talk to me about that a little bit, because it's just cool to hear about community coming together to do external projects like this,
Sure. I mean, the big one I have to mention is Alex V, who is He was the #1 seed for the Killer Instinct World Cup, and he ended up being like the savior of the KI community in a way, because he is such a genius musically, and he put together so many great tracks for the DMC 3v3. He worked with Omega Sparks, who did the official TJ Combo theme song for the game, and he just created some of the greatest masterpieces that the community's, not even official tracks, but stuff that people listen to this day, just tracks for Killer Instinct. And he's done the KI theme, and he's just been an absolute amazing asset to the community. So it really comes down to him. He even helped me level up my music game a lot and taught me a lot more about recording and, recording from home and stuff like that. He's just, he leveled up the community in more ways than one.
Okay, so in other words, you guys just recently did something, but this is just a new thing in a long chain of things that you guys have been doing then, huh?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Someone in the chat asked, where can you find this music?
Alex V does have all of his tracks on his Spotify playlist. I think his Spotify account is just Alex V.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. Can you talk about other stuff that you are up to these days?
I'm just all in on Killer Instinct right now. I've been keeping the community strong for over a year. Ultratech University is my main gig, like I said earlier. The Patreon service with a private Discord server that I run that has endless Killer Instinct content that I only post there for the most part, and just try to work one-on-one with whoever thinks that they need the help. We're bringing in new players each and every week and trying to really grow the community and the sub community that is Ultratech University. Hosting more tournaments, weekly events like lobbies and tournaments and round robin style stuff. Just always keeping it fresh with content for the Killer Instinct community, so that the hopes that maybe, just maybe, Microsoft will find the right developer to give us a new game.
Now,
yeah.
Obviously the game has had, a long story in terms of platforms, but right now, where would you say the community most plays? What platform do they mostly play on?
I think the biggest one is still probably Xbox, but I think Windows 10 is close to tying that, I would say.
Okay.
I do think the Steam version is a good asset if you are a TO, or even just somebody who just streams the tournament itself, because having the separate platform helps with connections for lobbies and stuff like that. Believe it or not, the Windows 10 version and the Xbox version don't like to play nice sometimes, and lobbies will crash, whereas sometimes I find more stability on Steam. So I really think having any of the platforms is very helpful. But if you are trying to play ranked and get in the sweaty games with the community, you kind of have to be on Xbox or Windows 10.
Okay. Is the game backwards compatible on Xbox Series X right now?
Yeah,
it is.
Sure.
It is, okay. Sick.
And cross progression between PC for Windows 10 and Xbox, just not with Steam.
Okay.
So 2022 is coming up. Do you, or does the community have plans for the upcoming year?
KI World Cup 2022, baby. It's going to be offline.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Get back offline, dude. That's awesome. And that's, I'm assuming, a lot of the same guys. Devil May Care, Brandon, of course.
Of
Brandon.
course, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Brandon Alexander is a huge asset to our community. But him being able to put this all together for us was a huge blessing, and I'm really, really thankful that we've had the opportunity to have a World Cup for 2021. It was really incredible.
Yeah. I mean, especially because you won, right? I mean, I'm sure that's great.
Help too. What loser?
Hell of a season, let me tell you.
Yeah, for sure. For the offline one in 2022, are there details about where and when that's going to be yet?
No dates official yet. Stay tuned for that. Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, I tend to ask everybody, the question, where your handle comes from, but I think it's pretty obvious where your handle comes from, right? So it's just...
My mom gave it to me.
There you go. Perfect.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, there are people out there who use first names, but it's not actually their first name.
Freaking Breaker.
That does exist. But
now, is there a special site for Ultratech University, or is that just like where do they go to sign up for that?
Plug all your stuff, man.
Sure. So it's really just it's a Patreon service. So it's patreon.com/Ultratech University.
Okay.
That will give you the access to see what all the tiers are to get a part of the community. And then from there, it's really just using that as the middleman to get into the Discord server. It's really just a big Discord server where we host weekly lobbies that I stream, monthly tournaments with prize pools for players who don't want to enter the big ones. It's just for the people in the Discord. And then we have a lot of community events too. Like we do movie nights where we'll go back and watch old KI tournaments from 2013 or 2014.
So cool.
we do a lot of stuff like that. We'll play other games too. Like, it's a sub community of the KI community, and it's really helped everybody out a lot.
That's awesome.
I expect everybody, like your signups flooded now that you're proven as the champion to be the best teacher available out there.
Finally, people know that Nicky's good at KI. It took until 2021.
8 years later.
Is that the only place fans can find you, or are there other places?
All right, James already went down this path.
God almighty. At NickyFGC on all my
socials. I meant his Twitter and his socials. Come on, man.
At NickyFGC on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, any place that I can post my content. NickyFGC everywhere.
Sounds good.
Nice work. Gotcha. Hey, thanks a lot for coming on and hanging out, buddy.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Good night.
And there we have it. World champion Nicky FGC here on the stream. Thanks for him stopping by. Sure, he's kind of sailing off the high of winning that, although he still seems a little, kind of shocked by it. Hasn't sunk in just yet, perhaps.
Oh, really cool. Yeah, congrats to him. That's super awesome. Nice work. We will move on. Let's go to the next one. 5-5 matchup. This is a segment where we have you, the viewers, send in questions, and then we also have you, the viewers, pick which questions we're going to do. As you can see, we have 2 slots up here. So we're going to take 2. So vote as if there will be 2 available rather than just 1.
Everyone got a preview of the questions at the very start of this, but any case, here you go. Go ahead and read. It's the mailbox.
Oh my God, this is a whole different preview.
I have seen the Aurora. Okay, with COVID, number 1, with COVID perhaps being at CEO, will there be any changes with offline events going forward? Number 2, what's your favorite? Oh no, I can't see it anymore.
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah. There you go.
Number 2, what's your favorite implementation of a DP in a fighting game? Safe or unsafe? Meterless? I think this is last time.
This is last week's question.
It's definitely the last times.
This is for sure last week's question.
Are these?
Yeah, they sure are.
These are straight from.
Yeah, I remember these.
From 12/7/2021.
Copy last week's questions?
I don't know, man.
I did. I scrolled down too far. Holy crap. That's my bad.
That's pretty funny.
I actually just copied last week's notes. Sorry. Well, so then they didn't get a preview. Ha-ha! That was the intention all along.
All right.
Agatha all along.
Number 1, for reals. Is Capcom waiting to see how SF6 is received or turns out before exploring any non-Street Fighter fighting game? Number 2. Do you feel like SF5 made good on the promise of unlocking characters with fight money? Do you think any other games will use a similar system, or will characters be exclusively paid DLC? Number 3, would you like fighting games in general to create more new offensive mechanics or more new defensive mechanics? Any good examples of either you'd like to see? Number 4, rollback has been recognized as a must-have in fighting games, but there are some games where the higher-ups need convincing to invest, e.g. GBVS, DBFZ. As players, what can we do to try to sway execs to pour money into, essentially, completed games that have made their ROI? 5, as a TO, is it worth it to try to cultivate a small scene, or should I spend my time on the bigger FGs in my state? And then last, 6, with so many fighting games coming out, is it going to become too unwieldy for events to try to host and stream tournaments for all these games? Could we see great games just get lost in the shuffle as a result?
There you go.
There you go. There are the questions.
I'm going to leave these on the screen for you guys. Just vote with !1, !2, etc. through 6. Everyone who is a subscriber can vote for 2 questions. Start typing in your votes, and we will see how that goes along. So there you go. !1 through 6. And we will get to the top 2 today. And I will just continue to watch the trend of the votes over here.
Okay.
See if we get some obvious choices in here. Of course, you can sway it very quickly. Just 1 or 2 votes can change the whole entire thing, as you can see here.
And don't forget, subs get 2 votes.
That's right.
And subs get 2 votes. So I see it slowing down now, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here. We are going to call it, and it is going to be questions 5 and 3, although one literally just caught up to it right now, but...
Too late!
Too late. We have chosen 5 and 3, so that's just the way it works. Too bad! Okay. Let's go to question number 5, which is, as a TO... is it worth to try to cultivate a small scene, or should I spend my time on the bigger fighting games in my state? So let me get this out here for you guys here. Start the timer, and bam, there we go. As a TO, is it worth it to try to cultivate a small scene, or should I spend my time on the bigger fighting games in my state?
Well, I feel like this really depends on what your goals are. Are your goals to help the scene for the game that you most care about, which is legit? Or are your goals to run an event that's as big as possible, which is legit? I feel like either one of those is totally a reasonable way to go about trying to be a tournament organizer. It takes a lot of work, and I would understand for sure not wanting to do it for a scene that you feel might not... result in much, and I don't just mean financially. Like, nobody's going to get rich doing tournament organizing anyway. If you aren't aware
especially
of that part,
not at the local level.
Yeah, but like, having more people attend like feels good, and so I get that. So I think it really depends on what your goals are. But if your goal is to help a smaller game, but just a game that you yourself happen to really care about, I think that is both legit and also doable. I can think of examples of that all over the place, including where we are in SoCal, before the world shut down. That kind of stuff was happening a lot. There were still regular Marvel Infinite tournaments. That was still happening all the time. Still regular Skullgirls tournaments. This is before Season 1 Skullgirls, right? And yes, which is funny to say, yeah.
Real silly.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple of other examples. A couple of us were running Mortal Kombat locals. We were getting like under 10 people. But like that's, we just wanted to play Mortal Kombat, so that was cool for us. That's doable. And I can't speak to your region, your state, and whether people will show up. But I will say that the more you do it, and the more that you advertise for it, and the more that you spread the word, and the people who are coming do the same, you can, in fact, not necessarily will, but you can, in fact, create a bigger scene out of that, yeah.
I guess my answer is, why not both? Why not support the big games, and then if you really love Sam Show, shoehorn a Sam Show V Special tournament in there. I know that's what our local guys do. A lot of times, the major games are the ones that weeklies and monthlies are for, right? Like, that's what draws the audience in. But then they'll also just have like, here's a Marvel vs. Capcom 1 tournament because I really like this game. And that brings new players in. So as long as you have the space, obviously, like what David said, it really depends on your situation and blah, blah, blah. But if you have the space, you can definitely do both if you're really interested in doing both.
For me, I really honestly am... I feel like sometimes the person running the events kind of doesn't get to pick. Like, I feel like it just depends on what the people are playing in your area. You hear this story a lot too. Like, I've been told that the Seattle, Vancouver area, like, they're super stoked about BlazBlue getting rolled back because they've never stopped playing BlazBlue. And so the people up there keep running BlazBlue events, the situation with, the event that I went to this past weekend, Chapter, the guy who runs, Faustian, when he first decided to run Faustian and sponsor players, he asked, hey, who's really interested in taking it to the next level and travel? And the two people that reached out to him were both Soul Calibur players. And so he just happened to start supporting Soul Calibur and doing a lot of Soul Calibur stuff, A lot of the times it just really depends on what games your scene plays. If you just have enough people who want to play that game. Now, obviously, you do have the ability to affect that a little bit based off of you setting up. But really, honestly, I would gauge the pulse of your community because you could try to run Street Fighter V, But you might not even have any Street Fighter V players or a lot of people in your area that really actually care. Maybe they just care about Killer Instinct or Mortal Kombat or Samurai Showdown. So you just keep running these locals for the smaller game, but it turns out that that's the game that more people actually want to play. It's like David said, though, you know, it also depends on your goals as well. Are you trying to turn this into something bigger? If you want to make it to the point where you can get to running, you know, the regionals, for example, you know, then, yeah, you might want to try skewing towards some of the bigger games to try to see if you can gear it towards that direction. But if you're just starting out, I mean, I would go with whatever it is that your community wants to play. Gain the experience as a TO, gain the experience as a streamer, learn how all the follies and pros and cons of a Smash.gg or a challenge or whatever you want to use, develop your system for it with whatever game is popular and see how it goes from there, honestly. But a lot of times I think it just depends on what people want to play in your area.
Sounds right to me.
Okay.
Anything else to say on that?
Moving on.
Okay. Cool. Question number 3. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Would you like fighting games in general to create more new offensive mechanics or more new defensive mechanics? Any good examples of either you'd like to see?
I, for one, feel like this question doesn't really fit any, like, status quo. Like, I can't just say, yeah, I want to see more offense, or yeah, I want to see more defense, without seeing the video game itself first. I need to know what the game is about before I could say there is no in general, and this is what I'm saying. You can't say in general I want to see more offense, or in defense, or in general I want to see more defensive mechanics. That's not really how fighting games work. You really need to find out what the game is about, what's strong in the game, what's weak in the game, etc. before you can say that. I mean, you can definitely have a preference on, I like games that are more offensive, or I like games that are more defensive. That's totally fine. However, I don't think you can just make it a general point to say more of this should happen in all fighting games. I don't think it works that way.
I think that that's absolutely correct. And I also feel that even for myself, my tastes vary. That is to say, like, I don't want every game to be more offensive or more defensive. I like to play offensively, but I also like to play defensively. I really enjoy both of those. And it's important to me to have options like that. I really want games to have options. So I don't want something to be too weighted in one direction or the other, because I'm not going to find it as interesting when that happens. I think the games that I like the most are games that are, or at least like became by the time that I really liked them, really varied. Where you could play a really, really strong offense, but also really strong defense and whatever else in between. A game that I feel like is too weighted one or the other is not one that's going to hold my interest, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, I think what most people, when they talk about this, is they're referring more to the pace of the game, right? Because, and honestly, like, I think Tubo's right on this. There's no generalizing the way it works. And in fact, if you think about every fighting game ever that's fun and fairly balanced, right? I mean, obviously there's games like Sailor Moon, which is just like everybody dies instantaneously, but no one's going to sit here and tell you that Sailor Moon is like the greatest balanced game of all time. But the thing about it is, if you really think about what a fighting game is, they're all the good ones that are properly balanced have probably a very similar ratio of offensive mechanics to defensive mechanics. Because if the offensive mechanics are too strong, everybody would just die as soon as they get touched or as soon as they get put in the blender, and then it's just game over, right? So you think like, oh, Marvel's like that, but dude, the way some of these people survive in Marvel, right? It's not just that the game, it's just not that they're magic. The game has defensive mechanics, whether, push block is an amazing defensive mechanic, for example. Chicken guarding is an amazing defensive mechanic, for example. People have ways to defend. So I feel like every single fighting game really has a pretty similar balance in terms of offensive and defensive mechanics. Otherwise, the game would probably be kind of busted, right? The first person to get the life lead would just crouch and win. So if it was defensive was too strong, for example, like KI1 kind of had that problem because there were no throws, right? So blocking was too powerful and the game was broken. Sailor Moon, the offense is too good. So even though there's a character who can backdash forever and be invincible 100% of the time, is one of the worst characters in the game. Like this is just the way it is. So what I think that this is really coming down to is what you want the pace to be, right? And do you want the game to be slower? Do you want the game to be manic? And I think that's kind of really what it comes down to. But in the end, in order to have a good fighting game, there has to be almost kind of a perfect balance between offense and defense. Otherwise, it's not a game. I mean, even the Dragon Ball developers were saying that. They were like, we thought we made the game with a proper offensive defensive balance, but then a guy like Goichi comes along and you can't open this guy up no matter what, and it makes them question how to balance the game a little bit. It's always going to be kind of like an even split between the two. So when you're making a fighting game, you have to balance out those mechanics, because otherwise the game is going to be kind of unplayable in either direction, in my opinion. So that's just kind of how I view it. And like I said, it's just the faster games are going to feel more like they're broken like Marvel. But then, the slower games are going to feel like they're more defensive like Street Fighter V. But then again, I don't think anybody thinks Street Fighter V is particularly defensive at this point. So
there you go.
All right.
We did it, everybody. Congratulations.
Okay.
Let's move on to something that nobody knew was coming. DNF Duel was just somewhere in the ether. It had disappeared. Nobody mentioned it for an entire year. It was gone. Nobody was thinking about it. I don't know anybody, at least. But then there's been all of a sudden a lot of news about this game. Suddenly there are trailers, very short trailers anyway. And then even more suddenly, guess what? There's a beta.
Yeah, you can play it soon.
Extremely suddenly.
I actually really like this type of marketing. When I'm looking forward to something, I get anxious, right? I get super anxious about that thing, and I want to do that thing or see that thing or be part of that, whatever it is, right? So
you want the next 2 days just to disappear, basically, now,
dude,
huh?
James, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep last night because I've had anxiety over
Spider-Man. Dang.
I legitimately could not fall asleep thinking about that movie last night.
Very cute.
It sucks.
So cool.
Trust me.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, it sucks.
Trust me.
Yeah.
It's the worst. But anyway, so I like the play it now marketing because I don't think about it. It's just like, boom, there it is. I was going to try this thing out regardless. Awesome. Yeah. But also, what the hell? What? Like, we got nothing on this game. Then they dropped a bunch of teasers on us, and now you can play it. We don't know anything about the mechanics. Dude. We don't know if there's rollback. We don't know shit about shit. But here you go. Apparently, they've been working hard on it. So, cool, I guess.
I mean, the crazy thing about it is, like, it's hard to say, like, wow, SNK has been doing things right. I mean, that's an odd sentence to say, in this day and age after the last few games. But when the KOF first beta was announced, they had PDFs with everything to expect. They even had the bugs that they knew about in the PDF. They gave us move lists for the 8 characters that were coming in the beta. We don't know anything about this game.
It's happening. That's all we know.
But apparently there was a new trailer that got revealed for another character. Apparently Vanguard just dropped, according to people in the chat.
Literally right now?
Right now?
Oh no, like when the show started, people were like, new trailer. So I think when our show started, they just dropped
so there's Hitman, Dragon Knight, and Vanguard now out there.
Yeah.
Did you say there's Hitman? Wait, what?
Hitman, Dragon Knight, and Vanguard out there now.
Okay.
Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan.
Yeah, I was like, Pokemon.
No, it's not.
So, I mean, the crazy thing about this, yeah, there's definitely an appeal to like, holy crap, we get this game. But the question really comes down, we don't even know what the netcode is going to be. We have no information on that at all.
I mean, I feel like ArcSys said, like, hey, going forward, all our fighting games are going to be rollback. But also, maybe this game was in development before that was a thing. And also, maybe they go, wait a minute. We're just publishing. This is Aiding's game.
Right,
this is their game.
I mean,
like maybe they pass the buck off to them on this one, and this game doesn't even have rollback netcode. What a blow up would that be?
Because think about it, right? Dragon Ball and Granblue Versus, they don't have rollback, even though they're developed by ArcSys, but that's because they're under control of different IPs, right? If I'm not mistaken, Dungeon Fighter Duel is still being, like, the decisions are probably being made by Nexon, right? That owns the Dungeon Fighter.
Or Neopal or whoever, makes Dungeon Fighter. Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know, man. Like, I guess we'll find out Friday. You know, like I guess.
Honestly, I'm kind of excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like almost it's been so long since I just try a game out and I don't know anything about it. Almost never. When was the last time that happened?
Dude,
in the 2000s?
The excitement of walking into an arcade and seeing a brand new fighting game that you had no idea was even coming out just show up is lost. It really is. I mean, I still remember the day that Street Fighter the movie dropped at the UCLA arcade and there was a crowd of people outside the arcade before it opened because we were like, holy crap, what's this going to be like? I don't ever even remember playing it or touching it. I think after it got turned on, I think everybody just walked away. Yeah. Like, I really think that we all just did.
Yep, that sounds about right.
We just laughed.
The last time that I think I can recall even something that's similar to this was maybe like Super Street Fighter 4 suddenly showed up at Super Arcade, is my memory of this. And people were like, there's new characters. And I didn't even know that. And there are these new characters. What are they like? Did they change anything else about the game? Or maybe it wasn't Super? Whenever Oni came out, I don't recall at this point.
That would have been Arcade Edition.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So
looking at you like, how did you not know Super? Super got like announced, and there was
pre-parties
and everything else. Like, there's no way you didn't know about Super.
Whichever one it was, but it basically showed up there, and suddenly there were these new characters, and I went and we played and I found out.
But,
and it was cool. But like,
to be fair, though,
I haven't had anything even close to that since.
Right. And to be fair, that was just a sequel of a game that you already knew. So going into it, you still knew that there would be FADCs and EXs and Ultras.
In my mind, like, anything could have changed. But they weren't going to like remove major systems, obviously.
Right. We don't even know how many buttons there are. We don't even know how many buttons. This game could be what was it? The game that you really liked that had the point system, right? Instead of actual life bars.
Not gonna be Fighter's Destiny.
Right, Fighter's Destiny 2, right? Like, we don't know.
Really funny,
dude. We don't know.
I mean, the only thing I will say about the game, just from having watched all the trailers, is that it seems to me like there's a special move cancel into special.
Yeah, which is apparently a dungeon fighter mechanic.
Yellow flash or whatever, and like it looks to me like they're doing a special move, and then now there's another special.
Right.
That's my only guess, but other than that, everything is up in the air, and I'm actually kind of excited about that. I think that's pretty cool. So I look forward to becoming the best.
So are you planning to play? So I mean, like, for me, it's hard for me to even know how much of this I'm gonna play because I'll probably be ending up playing KOF a lot this weekend, right? So I'm gonna have to figure out how to divvy up my time if I can. Like, I'm gonna basically have Olaf sitting next to me, like choking me the whole time, like playing KOF with me, damn it. After he labs everything for Mary. Basically I'm gonna be like, let me try Dungeon Fighter, and then he's gonna like slap the controller out of my hand and be like, no, no, you play KOF now. And I'm like, okay.
Well,
so, yeah.
That's part of my disappointment in this announcement is
Yeah.
I really want to try the game. But I'm quite literally giving my PlayStation 4 away this weekend. My friend that I haven't seen for 7 years, a childhood friend of mine, is flying out to Minneapolis to go see Spider-Man with me. And I'm gonna get. He doesn't have a modern console, and I have this PlayStation with hundreds of games. So I'm just gonna give him my PlayStation. And the beta's not on PC, so also he's gonna be here this weekend, so I won't have time regardless. But even if I could have like snuck in, like, hey, let me get an hour with this game, I'm giving him, like, my PlayStation's not even hooked up. It's his now. So
you just don't. You don't even use it. Then. Okay.
No, I have no. I play Guilty Gear on PC.
Dang.
So what else am I gonna play on console at this point? So I'm just gonna let my buddy borrow it for as long as he wants. You know.
Gotcha. Indefinite.
So like I don't even get to play. Like I'm gonna be busy this weekend, so it sucks. Like I don't even get to try it out.
Dang. Okay.
It's also like weird that it's exactly at the same times as the KOF beta. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, the KOF second beta wasn't planned either, so there's no way there was like a shade being thrown by Arxis.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. Sure. I really doubt it that there's intentional decision
conflict.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny that the times are literally like 1 hour off of each other. Like Dungeon Fighter always starts 1 hour earlier and ends 1 hour earlier, but otherwise the times are like almost exactly the same, dude. It's crazy.
All right. Man. Well, that's really cool, by the way, giving your PlayStation to your friend. Good work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever. Yeah. It's old.
All right, we move on. Yeah.
It's probably true, too. There's not very many weekends. Like, you're not going to throw out the beta during Christmas weekend because nobody's going to play it at that time, right? So you probably wanted to get it out ahead of time. But what does that mean? Like, obviously, KOF, this is their second beta. It's coming out in February. Does this mean Dungeon Fighter DNF Duel is coming out, like, in February, along with 700 other things in February?
A billion other games. I kind of hope not. I don't have that much time. Let me get some space in between these games.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Dude, I mean, when Rumbleverse comes out, I don't think we'll ever see Tubo again.
That's my life.
So.
My life is gone, yeah.
Well, what about Halo? What's going to win between Rumbleverse and Halo?
I'll still play Halo. I'll definitely still play Halo. I started playing Guilty Gear again, too. Nice. I just, as the months move on, I have more free time.
Okay. Sounds like Windjammers 2 is coming out on January 20th. Okay. So it's a chat saying. Okay. Granblue Versus has new characters added to the game. Vira and Avatar Belial apparently wasn't even supposedly like an original. Like apparently someone like just really likes the character and like spent their extra time or something and just made an alternate Belial or something. That's what I read. I don't know if that's actually true, but they've been added to Granblue Fantasy Versus along with a new patch. And again, I apologize profusely, on behalf of all of us. None of us really follow the game too much anymore. So there's not much we can add to that. But if there's anybody in the chat that has any insights on Vira.
I have some insight.
Okay.
Oh, not on Vira. I was going to say that the game is going on sale for $50 for the game and all the DLC.
That's right.
So don't be like us. Go buy the game, get all the stuff, try it out.
Yeah.
Play the game.
The only thing that I've seen on Twitter about it is Callisto saying that he knows that other people stopped playing the game because characters got nerfed. Well, he said, everybody got buffed now. So everybody come back and play Granblue and check it out. So that's my only tidbit.
Okay, that's good. Oh, so he's supposed to be the boss-only version. But Arxis devs tell Cygames that he is good to be in Versus 2, so they just added him according to High Fight. There you go. So there we go.
All right. Cool.
Getting some bitches. So that's cool. I'm glad to hear that everybody got buffed in the latest patch because, that's always been one of the biggest complaints that I know that Granblue has had is that they always seem to try to take away, quote, unquote, the fun. And so, again, I call this meme inertia, but, like, as soon as that happened the first time, then another patch comes out where they kind of did half buffing and half nerfing, and everyone's like, they nerfed everyone again, and it's just, like, sometimes it's hard to shake that, so.
Well, I guess they've shaken it.
They're doing a survey poll for future character picks. That's cool. Okay. Nice. There you go. Nick All-Stars Brawl, they also had a new character added, and that is Garfield. And in one of the most disappointing things is that their rumor that I heard about this character turns out not to be true. I heard he was locked out on Mondays, that you couldn't play him on Mondays, and that turned out not to be true, and I'm very disappointed.
Unbelievable. He looks like Garfield.
He does the kick, the Odie kick.
And
I think they did a good job, honestly. I think that he does look a lot like... He looks a lot like the cartoon character Garfield.
Look.
Like, they really... Like, there's stuff, there are references that they put in there that I think are nicely done.
I saw a picture that showed Garfield through the ages and how he looked since his inception of the first year. And, like, since 1984, he has not changed. Like, like that
Good,
comic
yeah, why would
strip...
you change that?
Because it's created by mass production. It's a machine-produced comic strip. Look, I was a big fan of comic strips. I wanted to draw comics when I was growing up. I have a lot to say about Garfield and why Garfield is just absolute garbage right now. But
is there comics beef? Oh my god, it's a world I know nothing about. And
dude, Garfield is the most. Nothing will change.
Very funny.
They use the same jokes over and over again because it's mass marketed to the entire world. Jim Davis doesn't do anything for the comic anymore. It's just drawn by a production team.
He doesn't work for the money. The money works for him. Okay.
That's so funny.
Dude, he does nothing. He literally
I know.
It's just going to be Spiders, Monday, Lasagna, John B. That's why Garfield minus Garfield is like the greatest comic ever because it actually gives it a deeper meaning, dude. That thing is... I loved Garfield when I was a kid. I watched all the cartoons, and then it just lost its soul, man. It really did. And as a person who wanted
Garfield burp in Nick Brawl,
as
and
a
you
person
can see him yell Monday, and it's an attack in Nick Brawl.
As a person who grew up wanting to who idolized Charles M. Schulz and Peanuts and all that stuff and Far Side, with Gary Larson and Bill Watterson and Calvin and Hobbes and all that stuff, Garfield was like the enemy of like comic strips. I swear it really was, dude. Ugh.
That's very funny. I had no idea. All right.
I should have saved that for a Chen Buster, dude, because that would have been a worthy Chen Buster right there, is the rant against Garfield. All right, Power Rangers.
There's also a patch, so heads up, they changed.
Yes. Oh, very little too. It was like 6 characters got like 1 change, I think it was. So.
They actually buffed Zim. Wow. All right, we move on.
Rita Repulsa was added to Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. She came out today. And I watched the trailer, and she's very Dormammu-esque.
Dude, she actually looks sick, I gotta say. I think that she looks really cool. Yeah, like, the trailers for that game are always very, very combo-focused, so most of the trailers are, like, doing extremely long combos. That's, like, the thing of the game. But she looks like she has a lot of, like, very strong zoning options, and I think she looks really cool.
Dude, she has Stocking Flare as a special move. And she has Dormammu pillars, dude. Like... She actually looks like she's pretty unique in a very combo engine heavy game. And I'm excited to see what people can do with her. I mean, literally that's how the trailer starts, is after 10,000 years, I'm free! Like, it just literally starts that way, dude. Yeah, Olaf, you need to watch that trailer, because now all of a sudden you might want to download the game with a Dormammu character in there. It does
look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks good.
We move on
to the most amazing.
Do you have? Can you play it?
You know what? Every time I play any trailer, we get DMCA'd. I don't even want to risk it anymore. We played the freaking Hot Wheels trailer, like, of a racing game that was on Steam. Like, we're watching the advertisement for the game, and it got DMCA'd, and I tried to cut it out of our clip, and the YouTube editor sat there for like 4 hours. I stayed up till like 5 a.m. waiting for this thing to finish clipping, and eventually I cut it out myself, re-rendered it, and uploaded it before YouTube actually got their fix in there. I was so mad, dude. So unfortunately, that's why I didn't play the new DNF trailer. It's why I'm not going to play this trailer as well, because but it is the most amazing trailer ever. Really?
Yes. So in the new Phantom
Amazing
Breaker
is a way to put it.
Omnia trailer, the voiceover person, I guess, must have gotten direction to just go hog wild. Just whatever, probably whatever you can come up with. Here's some voice lines to say, like
Copyright claimed, yes.
Extremely talkative. And a lot of it is like CVS2 or Alpha or Street Fighter 4, like round start kind of like pablum, you know?
Yeah! Fighting! Lots of fighting! Oh yeah! You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. And like 12 seconds into it, when I was first shown it, immediately I paused the video and I posted up like, this is so stupid, I'm actually laughing out loud. This is ridiculous. This is awful. Very negative. Yeah. And then I pressed play, and by the end of the video, it's only like a minute and a half long. By the end of the video, I was like, this is actually good. This has actually become good in the last like minute, because it became so over the top and absurd that it was no longer bad. It was actually good. So good work.
Yeah.
It's funny because like
it exists.
I tweeted out
doing over there.
I actually tweeted out that it sounded like they were going to teach us a fucking infinite at the start of it, right? Because it almost sounded like, let me show you how to do a fucking infinite, you know, kind of thing. And someone actually tagged the guy who originally made that Iron Man video on my tweet. And the guy's like, yo, I would have done this for free.
Man. I thought that was so good.
But if you guys have the chance to watch it, please do. I mean, it's all over the fighting game Twitterverse, social media verse, so it's not going to be hard to find.
I don't know anything about the game.
You're breaking phantoms, dude.
Like classically,
you're
the character select screen, they all look the same to me. At least half of them do. But anyway,
lots of Gokus.
Maybe it'll be fun. Yeah, it's just.
Right, Max is already working on a parody trailer. That sounds about right.
Good. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Frosty Faustings? What's that?
Frosty Faustings? Frosty Faustings is where fighting and lots of fighting takes place. Oh, yeah.
It's real Frost, you're Fausting.
There's going to be giant magical tigers. Anyways, yeah, that's just the thing is like, how do you make a parody of that? Like, it is a parody. Like, you watch it, you're sure that it's just somebody doing an audio dub and making fun of it, but it's the actual trailer, dude. But Frosty Faustings, one of the biggest tournaments in the country, usually taking place at the beginning of the year, finally trying to be offline again. In fact, was the last offline major before all the pandemic started. And in fact, a lot of people who got sick there thought they had the flu. Probably a lot of those people actually caught COVID, and we just did not know at the time because it wasn't that well publicized yet at the time. But they're finally trying to get to offline again. That's going to be taking place next month. Very typically an anime-heavy tournament because it is Guilty Gear, Faustings. I mean, it's run by God, why can't I?
Elvin Shadow.
Elvin Shadow, thank you. It's run by Elvin Shadow, who is a Faust player, so it's called Frosty Faustings. And Frosty Faustings literally tweeted out their 25-game entry. There's 25 games, and they put out the list of the order in terms of the highest game to the lowest game. So let me actually just throw this onto the screen for you guys over here. As you can see, so again, always a Guilty Gear heavy tournament. So Strive coming in here with 700 plus entrants, but Melty Blood not far behind with 600 plus entrants. And I think that's really, really cool. I'm happy to see that.
It's awesome. Yeah.
For one, would like to remind everybody, last week we had a mailbag question that asked us what our most hated fighting game was. Okay. And I didn't really answer it except for one game, and that game is at the very bottom of that list.
What's
coincidence?
Far Side?
Fantasy Strike.
Oh, I really did not know.
You didn't even know what FS stood for.
You didn't put it together?
You know what? That proves the point. That proves the point.
I didn't even realize what it was until you just said that. Literally.
Yep.
Literally. But yeah, again,
okay, so if you're not looking at this because you're listening to this, number 1 is Strive, number 2 is Melty Blood, and then number 3 is actually Smash Ultimate. Number 4 is Guilty Gear XX AC plus R. Number 5, tied, it says, is Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 and BBCF. After that's Mystery, Tekken 7, Uniclear, SF5, etc., etc., etc. Down to 25.
But again, always, like I said, Frosty Faustings is kind of like a mini combo breaker, because they run pretty much every game imaginable. Third Strike, Vampire Savior, Super Turbo, all those games are there. And, Skullgirls here. And, they all always have a decent amount of entrants for a good time. So should be good stuff. So hopefully... you'll have a chance to tune into that when the weekend comes along. I know all of us are planning to be there, so
I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure. So should be a good time. This will be your first Frosty Faustings if you go, right, David?
Correct.
Dude, okay, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, the times that I've been there, it's a very grassrootish feel. Like there's the main ballroom, but they're running tournaments in the halls outside of the ballroom. That's where like Super Turbo is run and stuff like that. It feels very grassrootish, very convention-ish, and it's a nice feel that I kind of like, you know what I mean? Because, while we like the big glossy tournaments, at the same time, sometimes it feels good just to have these kind of nose to the grindstone kind of events.
Feels good, man.
Okay.
Next one is, I just want to talk about the event that I went to this past weekend. I went up to Seattle for a Soul Calibur 6 event. It was Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur 6, but I was only there for the Soul Calibur 6 event, run by Bonus Round and Faustian, aka Chapter. And, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because it was a really great event. It was a lot of fun. And, Faustian, I know, is someone that you've worked with a little bit, David, as well in the past. And he's a good guy. He runs a nice tournament. He does it literally out of his own pocket. I mean, he's just doing it because he wants to support the community and such. And, it was really cool because of the Soul Calibur community. They all just came out. Like, a whole bunch of them came out from, like it was a monthly for the Pacific Northwest, and a bunch of people flew in from NorCal. Father Ramon, who got third place, came from New York. People were coming from all over the place just to play in this event. And, he did a lot of cool things, too, because he ran this tournament, and the winner of the tournament had to fight the secret Santa boss. And we didn't know who that was. He would not tell anybody. In fact, the person was never even at the venue until right before he would have had to play. And he showed up in a Santa suit with a black mask on and shades on and gloves, so you couldn't tell who it was at all. And then he played a couple of games, and then after losing 2 games, he revealed himself. And it was AO Boom. It was Boom, who runs the Boominati League Soul Calibur events from East Coast as well. Yeah. He actually told me he originally wanted to fly Skill out from Europe to come play because he's one of the best. But do you remember that? I mean, so Chapter told me this and I laughed, but did you guys see the Scrub quotes post of the guy that was actually saying how rollback actually makes fighting games less skillful?
I did see that.
Right? And it says that rollback takes the skill out of fighting games. Well, Skill has actually not been playing any Soul Calibur because he's only been playing Guilty Gear because of the rollback netcode. So for the Soul Calibur community, rollback took the skill out of the game.
Jeez, that's good, but wow.
I thought that was amazing. But again, Soul Calibur community, I mean, it's such a small group, talking about that question, should you cater to big group or small group? But like the way that Chapter, catered to even after all the guys flew out there, he had originally planned to have it so that Boom, who was flown out, would just run a gauntlet with everybody the next day on Sunday because it was a one-day tournament. But instead, because so many people flew out, he just decided to host a big old casual session so everyone could play offline. I met a bunch of the people that are on my stream all the time for the first time, which was really, really cool. And then we ran some exhibitions off to the side, that we got to commentate and stuff, and will get put out on YouTube later because the venue only had Wi-Fi, so streaming wasn't going to be possible there. But yeah, it was held at this nice little venue, like a bar dance club kind of place, where they were broadcasting the game on the ceiling in like CVS 2 diamonds and stuff like that. It was a pretty cool event. It was really nice, and I just want to say that I felt like you put on a great event. Found some good venues. We were in downtown Seattle area, really beautiful area there. Curly W, who was in the chat earlier, who lives in Seattle now, actually stopped by and visited. So I actually got to hang out and talk with Curly W for a long time. But yeah, Seattle's a really beautiful place, and hope that I can go back and do more stuff over there. So I'm excited, and I had a great time there. So it was weird to travel again. I had to remember how to do all the stuff and forgot a couple of key things like my Switch charger. I forgot headphones. I couldn't watch any of the movies on the airplane and stuff, like all these little things. But I figured I could do that to prep myself for remembering how to travel once Frosty comes around. But it was a good time, though. I really had a good time. And, and also, Chapter made sure people were masked. You just could not even be in the venue if you were not masked and stuff. So it was really safe, and everybody was being very careful and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun, and I had a good time. So I just wanted to talk about that. And just, kind of gush about being able to travel to an event again like that. And it was, I had forgotten how much I kind of missed it. Like the whole airplane experience, the airport experience. I was like, oh, yes, I remember this. So.
Cool, man. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Upcoming stuff. Dreamhack was canceled. Dreamhack Anaheim was canceled. We don't know why.
In February. Yeah, they didn't actually say, but, it's probably COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you did the CPT Midwest this last week, which was won by Rob TV, but Brian F. qualified since Rob already won. But UK Ireland is coming up this weekend, right?
Correct.
So, okay, cool.
Correct.
Nice. Correct.
All right.
Rob. You're a bad man, Rob TV.
You're a bad man. Yeah, that's fun. All right. The UCTV Mailbag, which we are going to absolutely blitz through.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't even realize what time it was. So, yeah.
Very fast.
Blitz.
Okay.
Blitz.
Here we go. The
Right
first
from
question.
The word blitzkrieg. Oh.
Porta John via Twitter. If you could go back in time and make one change to any video game you played, besides adding rollback netcode to it, what change would it be?
If I could go back in time and make change to any video game that I've ever played of all time, what would it be?
Make the Virtual Boy in full color.
That's a
console.
console.
That's not a video game.
I think we're talking about fighting games, right? I mean, are we?
It's a video game. It
yeah,
is a
that's
fighting
true.
game.
I was thinking fighting games. Now that I think about it,
The original Legend of Zelda is 3D.
My answer would be make sure that Alpha 3 didn't have crouch canceling. Infinites.
We would never have another Zelda. You just ruined Zelda forever. Can you imagine NES Zelda 3D? Oh no. That would be the worst game of all time.
Yeah, I would take away crouch canceling infinites from Alpha 3 because I just feel like the game would.
John Lee and Third Strike is deleted.
That's a good one, actually.
I would.
Oh, no, then the end would be too powerful, so. 2-0?
I would make sure that Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee, has some form of online play on the GameCube. It could be delay based, but it would have some form of online play. That's the change I'll go back.
I'm surprised your answer wasn't like just release Ultimate Marvel first, so that way it would have sold well, so they could keep making patches and balance changes and DLC characters to it.
I don't think that would have made it sell any better, to be honest.
Nah, that's probably true.
I think it's such a niche community.
Investigation Code via Twitter asks, what is your favorite festive treat this time of year? Be specific. Mine is my mom's sugar cookies, but specifically whichever one has been decorated with the most cinnamon imperial candies on it.
If I could go back in time and make one change to any video game that I've ever played of all time, what would it be?
That's a good one, actually.
If I could go back in time and make one change to any video game that I've ever played of all time, what would it be?
I don't know. What do the goyim eat this time of year? There's cookies, I guess. What am I gonna have? We're gonna go do Christmas stuff at some point. I mean, honestly, like Hanukkah's not actually a super big deal in Jewish culture. It's like only important because it happens to fall around the same time that Christmas does. So, I mean, whatever. I'm just gonna eat whatever food's around.
I have no history.
Thanksgiving's the important one.
I have no history of traditionally celebrating Christmas in any way, shape, or form, so I don't really have any favorite festive snacks.
My favorite Christmas food is the traditional Jewish Christmas dinner of Chinese food.
Ooh, that's pretty good, actually. I mean, mine would be just the fact that every Christmas I eat hot pot with my parents. That shit's delicious, right? So I love that. But I mean, like,
Lobo? Sorry.
Wait, what?
What do you got? What's your thing, bud?
No, I don't have like a thing. So
we're all.
I'll just let you guys.
We
answer.
all hate Christmas here on the Ultra.
I mean, I live alone. I don't have family here. What I've done like the past couple of years is I get together with Marine and me Saltine and we get drunk on Christmas. Like that
sounds amazing.
I don't have like a special treat. I guess you could say like maybe like some fall beers, but that's not even in season anymore. We're past that. So
you can have some schnapps. Isn't that a Christmas thing?
I don't like eggnog. I mean, it's okay. I don't like love it. You know.
Yeah.
So we were walking through Target, whether it was me, Olaf, and Kitty, and like we were passing by all the Christmas treats, and they were like, "James, what's your favorite Christmas treats? We'll buy some for you right now." And I was like, and I didn't have an answer. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm with you.
All right, we move on.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. I'm gonna go with Gelt in retrospect, even though Gelt is actually really bad.
Humans.
Don't Gelt.
Humans. That's your favorite snack, is humans. Jiggly Peering via Twitter. Give us a fighting game holiday gift guide. What's the perfect present for your sparring buddy who has it all? Whoa. A cool fighting game figure. That's what I would give him. Because it's decorative and look, I think fighting game figures are awesome, okay? And I've always said that if I had infinite money and they actually made figures for the characters that I wanted, I would like buy as many as I can. So
I like what Dr. Omnipotent says. Gotta give them all an L.
Great answer.
Actually, you know what? At that Soul Calibur event, the Secret Santa, Boom, actually lost the Zefukai, and the loser of that exhibition match got a present that was an L-shaped gift box. So there you go.
There you go.
That's great. Yeah.
What about you, David? We move on. Okay.
It's the worst mailbag of all time.
I know.
We don't know.
Do you have an answer, David? Oh yeah, there you go. A big 3D printed L.
High five. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Drem via Twitter asks, I was disappointed that when discussing multiverses, David did not theorize about picks from the Warner Brothers hit film Dune. What characters would you want and how would they play, such as their team powers? You can also consider these other hit WB properties. There's a link there.
That tweet includes The Matrix, Mad Max, Pacific Rim, Rocky, Blade Runner, The Wire, Dirty Harry, National Lampoon's Vacation, Samurai Jack, Kangaroo Jack, The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Venture Brothers, Freakazoid, Anderson Cooper 360, Hanna-Barbera, The Mask, Casablanca, Freddy Krueger, Rizzoli Isles, and Rush Hour.
In other words, just go watch Space Jam 2 to see WB whore out all of their properties in the most shameless way possible, and that will be what you have an indication of. So,
well,
what characters would I want from Dune? I think we talked about this, but maybe in something else. I think that Duncan Idaho would be cool. It would be cool to have like he could use Golas of himself as like shields, like Happy Chaos does. Yeah, you know the word. You know I'm talking about Golas.
Yeah,
you know
dude,
the whole
Golas.
backstory.
Golas,
absolutely.
Of course. Who doesn't know about Golas?
And maybe like some face dancers. I think it could be pretty sick. They could probably do some real weird stuff, which I think would be pretty cool.
It's not working. Okay, never mind. Man.
Okay, you're gonna Chen Buster me.
I was gonna do that and say that nobody cares about Dune, but I know that's a lie. But I just want to make people mad.
Drem is disappointed in me. I'm disappointed about the phrasing of Warner Brothers hit film Dune. Like Warner Brothers just came out with Dune.
Yeah,
it's not like 50 years old. Okay,
this is Warner Brothers' original idea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still commented out. That's why. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Anyways. Let's do this one. Matthew Mengiar asks via Discord, for this weekend's beta apocalypse, I like that word actually, what games are you most excited to play and why? DNF, BBC Rollback, or KOF 15? I'm disappointed that we do not have an Oxford comma in here. I'm going to put that in there myself.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to play, I have been playing BlazBlue anyway, so yeah, yada yada. But as far as the two, KOF and DNF, I guess I'm actually more excited for DNF because I don't know anything about it. Like KOF, I'm going to try and play and probably have fun with, but I don't know anything about DNF, so I guess I'm more excited to try that one out.
I, for one, am most excited to see Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Green Goblin, Lizard, Electro, Sandman, and Dr. Octopus. Listen, these have been in the trailers. I'm not spoiling anything. So I'm excited to see them all fighting this weekend. I'm assuming the netcode's going to be incredible. I'm assuming there's going to be, some high-impact action.
It's offline, dude. They did the whole thing offline.
Oh yeah, that's true. Even better, a true offline event. I can't wait.
I'll probably mostly be playing KOF. Otherwise, my roommate will destroy me. So I'll try to squeeze in some point in there. So no. No, I don't know. I'll definitely want to try Dungeon Fighter just to see what the deal with it is and find out what's going on, but we'll see how that goes.
All right, we're only halfway through, so we got a power.
What is your Subatar via Discord? What is the favorite word or phrase that you invented? It's definitely not trip guard because everyone keeps fucking that one up.
Nice. Oh my God, we're out of here.
I actually jumped to the next question by accident. Sorry. Go ahead, you guys. What's your favorite phrase that you've invented?
My brothers and I basically came up with so many words when we were small that our friends called it the Gram language. So I feel like there's not a good single. Yeah, that doesn't surprise anybody, I'm sure. There's probably not one answer to this, to be honest. I don't know. Nothing good comes up. When you... All right.
You're right there, David.
All right, David. David. Tubo, you go.
David's
you go.
Finally snapped. Just laughing for no reason.
He's remembering some of the parts of the Gram language. Yeah. So Grammys.
Correct. I don't recall making up a word, especially one that became FGC popular or a term. So I don't have one.
Yeah,
that's not a question for me. That's a question for James and James alone.
Launchers, flying screen, those kind of things. Even to the point when Rival Schools came out, they said, use this motion to activate the Rival launcher. And I was like, yes. But, it's such a common sounding word anyway. So, but yeah, I was proud of that. Okay. Back to the next question.
Moving on.
Deadeye Dave asks, what is your favorite character in a game you've never played?
I'm going to say Iron Tager in BlazBlue Central Fiction. Because I stopped playing BlazBlue before Central Fiction.
Yeah, but you just you learned one combo last week.
Correct.
So you have played him now. So that you've played him now, so that doesn't count.
Dang. If only this question had been asked last week. Okay, fine. Fair neugh. What game have I never... I don't know. I try most games. What game have I never played that I know anything about? If I have never tried a game, I feel like I don't know anything about it.
Tubo, do you have an answer?
Yeah, I've never played a Mega Man ZX game, and I like that character, so...
Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
That's a good answer.
I have art on my wall of that character.
That's pretty cool and weird.
I just like Mega Man.
Yeah, you sure do. You sure do.
I'm just trying to think of everything that's in my backlog that I could possibly give an answer to, you know, that like games that I knew I wanted to play and I just never ended up playing them.
All right, moving
Requires
on.
too much thought. All right, next question. Zachary via Twitter. Sorry, we did not get a good answer for you. Which brain-altering fungus would you rather be colonized with for the rest of your life? One where you talk with a different random accent every day, or one where your brain interprets everyone else's voice as Scooby-Doo?
Oh, absolutely the second. For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Really?
the second. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. You would be looked at as a weirdo if you made different accents every single day.
Yeah, that would be really hard to live like that because
Yeah.
people would just be like nobody's gonna understand that. Whereas in the second one is just in your own head, and like you're like you know that's how what the world is, and at some point it becomes normal to you.
Yep.
Yeah, but the
other one
problem
doesn't
is,
become normal to other people.
do you know how hard it would be to interpret things, right? Like if you wanted
I
to
think
say
you
someone
would
like,
figure it out right
do you
away.
want to eat a pear? They could also be saying, do you want to eat a bear or do you want to eat a hare? Like, because it would always come out as, you want to eat rare or you want to eat rare. Like, it's going to sound the same every single time. You have no idea if they're saying pear, hare, or bear.
On the other hand, just like any other language, I think that you would probably be able to figure out by context, and also the more that you speak, or the more that you believe other people are speaking that language,
more
the
you'd
more that you'll
understand.
learn it, and you'll figure it out. It'll
think
become
so,
like
too.
second nature to you. You'll start dreaming in that language.
Yeah.
You know-
I think that's an easy answer.
As a person who does speak Chinese a little bit, that's true because there's a lot of words in Chinese that sound the damn same, and you figure it out by context. So there you go. I don't know. I think it would just be cool to be able to speak because I've always wanted to be able to speak in every accent possible. So I'll just pick.
I mean, if
number
I got
one.
the pick and stick with one, sure. But if it's a random one every day, that's
That'd be
weird.
sick, dude. Like,
do it.
do you know
It'd be
how
awful.
many ways I could
Your
get away with
workplace would
shit?
fire you so fast.
It would be so weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but like
you would get accused of being racist. Like, it would be a
it's
problem.
true. But you could
That would be a
also,
problem.
Yeah.
but like let's say you needed like there was a phone number that you could call to get something free or like to enter a raffle. Like you would call in every day and they would never know you're cheating.
That's what I'm thinking about with my weird accent voices. Is
Exactly.
how many raffles I can
right.
screw.
So I can enter raffles. So that's one point on the board of the pro side.
Right,
Never
but see,
mind
here's
if
the
you use
best,
your home
here's the
address.
hardest part about it. If you chose the other one, I wouldn't know if I'm entering a raffle or a waffle, right? I mean, you're entering a raffle. So like,
Either
that's
way, it's
it,
a win.
dude.
You know, there's no negative.
Yeah, I'd like both, please.
All right, so Zachary via what? Did I not?
All
post
right.
the
So
other
the
one?
answer is number 2. I'm gonna go with the human.
All right. Freaky Jason via Twitter says, say I run a venue here in Michigan. I want to run a tournament. All hypothetical, but what would it take to get one of you three here, if that was even a possibility?
Big bucks.
Gotta pay us billions of dollars.
I like big bucks and I cannot lie. Those other TOs can't deny. I mean, I didn't get paid for the Soul Calibur thing I did this weekend. Just do a good event, you know, do something that I'm gonna have fun with, and you know, just you know, talk to me about it, see what we can do, and that's basically all it comes down to, really. So
The way you sell
Yeah.
me on an event is, what else can I do around there?
yeah,
Are there any? Is
that
there
is
a
true.
museum I can go to?
That
Is there
for
like a
David,
cool
yeah.
cultural place I can go to? What if like can I go? I've never been to the Upper Peninsula. Are you there?
Here's the
There's
thing about
probably cool stuff
Michigan.
to do there.
I know. I mean, like I would go to a tournament in Alaska so I could see the Aurora Borealis for free.
Correct. Although I got paid to do that. Although it was blood money, so I'm not sure I'm happy about that.
Phil Rufio via Twitter asks, the new cool fighting game made by a wizard allows you to choose the moves for your cool character from any game. What 3 moves would you mash together and choose?
All right, I'm playing Chrome Dome Spark, which is an invincible projectile. That's his invincible move, but also it's a projectile, which is pretty ridiculous. I'm doing. Which move from Pet Shop do I want to steal? That's a good question.
I'm surprised it's just not Zangief SPD from Hyper Fighting days and like Tager Magnetism.
Well, those are the answers right there that James just gave. That's where I was going to end up. All right, Brock, what about you?
Let's see here. I want Blanca's up ball from Hyper Fighting that hits on the way up, on the way down as a safe on block.
For sure.
I want Virgil 3-way teleport. And I want Ivan Ooze's invincible DP.
We're just Ivan Ooze.
Yep, I want Ivan Ooze's invincible DP.
Like, yeah, somebody takes Karnov Baloo and like what? All right, James, what do you got? Wall dive, ST Vega wall dive, like just all the stupidest.
I know, right? Basically, God, what would I want? What would I want in a game like that? I would want Super Turbo Cammy's Spin Knuckle. I would want World Warrior Blanca's Close-Up Heavy Punch.
Oh, the worst moves you can think of.
I'm trying to think of like the absolute most useless moves in the history of fighting games.
Hugo, any of like 4 different normals in Third Strike.
Maybe Armika's Ring Super from Alpha 3. Or her Viasm Kick Air Throw, which did 0 damage.
Nice.
For no reason.
Oh, dang. Launch Injustice 1 Superman Super, the 2-frame overhead full screen super. Ugh, pretty good choice. All right, we move on.
Ishun Sengeki via Twitter. What might be some of your fighting game guilty pleasures? For example, I pull out Gundam Battle Assault every once in a while. I know it's pretty janky, but I do love me some janky Gundam fighters.
Hey man, I know a lot of people who really like Gundam games, so I don't know if I'm gonna go with the jankiness on that.
But that's a different game. That's not one of the Virtual On. I think that's actually like the Gundam fighting game.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know anything about it. There you go. My fighting game guilty pleasures? I think I just like games, or I don't. I don't know. I
mean, if you're talking about janky games, like mine might be Super Turbo. Vampire Savior, you know.
Marvel 3.
Basically, right? I mean,
I guess like in spirit of the question though, we've already talked about mine, and that would be TMNT Tournament Fighter.
Yeah.
Like if you want to call that a guilty pleasure, I guess. I think that game is super dope.
Criticom is not a guilty pleasure. That is just the worst thing ever imagined. That's 9th level of hell stuff right there. Having to play Criticom as you're fighting. The only fighting game, dude, if that was the only fighting game you could play for the rest of your life as fighting game players, as ourselves, that is truly the 9th level of hell. Because that was seriously like the worst fighting game I've ever played in my entire life. It was just the worst. Like there was a triple fireball where the guy goes, fireball. What? Did you guys get muted? Did we mute? What happened? Oh shoot, what happened? Oh. I literally have no idea. I have no idea what just happened. Why?
Hey, there it is.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think it was Discord shitting the bed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Discord. I didn't do jack shit, and it just happened.
That was Discord shitting the bed because we all came back at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a great Tuesday show, guys. Thanks for sticking around, Casper.
Yep.
Do we want to do the one last question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sure.
All right. Well, actually, we have 2 questions. So, quote via Discord, if you could make a fighting game consisting of only other fighting game characters of an archetype, what archetype would you choose and who'd you main? Such as a fighting game with only grapplers. That already exists. It's called Rumbleverse.
Oh, Rumbleverse. I'm playing it. We're all going to play it. It's a great game. Next question.
Phi Slamma Jamma Mama.
I actually zone with bats.
Tavi Turnip via Discord. Have you ever had to explain away a genuinely innocent thing like spilling toothpaste or hand soap onto your black shirt without noticing until someone else pointed it out?
That's actually a very funny question.
You just described like my childhood. I swear to God. So
yeah, you had a lot of suspicious stains.
No, I mean, not even just suspicious. It was just weird shit. Like, I was that kid that would have the toilet paper stuck to my shoes, you know, that kind of stuff, dude. That was just my lot in life, dude.
Well, I think that I also did a lot of stupid stuff and had a lot of very silly and stupid stuff happen to me. And I think I just, like, didn't explain it away.
You locked yourself out of your car one time, right? So
I sure did, James. I sure did. While the window was open and my pants were stuck in the car. Correct.
Yeah.
How do you lock yourself out with the window open?
I've never told you that story.
I think it was before Tubo joined when you told that story.
I feel like I have heard this.
I'll tell you later. Yeah, it's very silly and stupid. So that kind of stuff has happened to me over the years. It's happening still. Another similar story happened just like a few months ago. So yeah, I'm doing stupid stuff all the time. That's right. Deal with it, everybody else. It's not my problem. Well, kind of it is, I guess. But, you know, also it's...
And as for me, I've never done anything awkward in my life.
You were on a reality show, but you also tackled someone you thought was killing somebody. So yeah, that was a good thing.
All right, that's a Tuesday show, folks. We did it.
We did it.
No errors at all.
I feel like
we got through it.
Normal length Tuesday show, normal hours Tuesday show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this is a normal length Tuesday show because we started practically half an hour late, right?
See me in DNF Duel. I'm going to be the best ranger or grappler. I'm not sure yet.
Hopefully that game has rollback. I can't imagine it coming out with it. Oh man, that's going to be a blow up.